Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tech Anarchy 2014 edition. I am your host, Tim Harris, and with me is our co-host, Jennifer Ruggiero.
Hi, Tim. How are you?
Hi, Jennifer. It's a great 2014, at least this Sunday morning. It's cool, crisp, and clear here in Texas. How about you?
It's gorgeous here in North Carolina. It's 54 degrees and sunny, and it's completely different than when it was a week ago. So it's amazing, right?
Exactly. I would have rather start 2014 with this weekend as opposed to the previous two, because it was crazy weather-wise.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So cold. How cold did it get where you were?
It only got into double digits, not negative. So I think the low one night was 18, and that was pretty chilly.
Yeah.
So we didn't get any negatives here. How about you?
Our lowest was 6 degrees.
Wow.
With the real feel, it was below zero. But but for actual temperature, it was just 6 was our lowest.
Yeah, I'm kind of regretting not having 2014, not having weather as being one of the main events or one of the main things to look forward to in 2014, because it seems like lately we've just been starting the show with weather info.
With weather updates.
I know.
Right?
It's like, okay, when will this stop?
We're the meteorologists for Texas and for North Carolina. Yeah.
I know. I just highly suggest everybody get a farmer's almanac and be prepared. That's all I have to say. We're starting 2014, so and we haven't been recording for the past 2 weeks, so we have a lot of news to talk about. And so if you're ready, I'm ready to just get going with the news.
All right, let's get into the news.
So first off on my list is Google's VP9 video codec gets major backing from hardware manufacturers such as ARM, NVIDIA, Sony, and obviously Google. But Intel is now on board, along with Panasonic and Toshiba. Pretty much everybody that deals directly with device manufacturing, whether it be for streaming or for Blu-ray.
And from what I read and heard, that using this H.265 encoding, that it actually requires less bandwidth than our current HD viewing, right?
Right, which is the H.264.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. So, but VP9 is competing against the current H.264 standard.
Uh-huh.
But it's also said to be competing with the future H.265 encoding standard.
Oh, okay. So they are...
They are separate.
Okay. I thought that they were just called something different, that VP9 was similar or very close to or being the same as H.265. So they're not. No. Okay, oh my.
Completely different. Okay. And I was reading your show notes, and I was kind of excited because I think you stumbled upon a good article for me to write on Tech Anarchy 2014 for a 2014 post. In that Netflix, and I wasn't able to verify if Amazon was doing this morning, but Netflix is invested with H.265 encoding.
Right.
And everybody else is invested in VP9.
Isn't that interesting?
So from a content distribution standpoint, it's going to be either or. I mean, content providers do not want to re-encode their movies in both VP9 and H.265.
So I wonder if we're looking at the same thing as, what was it? We had mentioned it before, Blu-ray versus HD, and then or VHS versus Beta. Yeah,
right.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And this is more or less the software equivalent of that. And I was kind of blown away that Netflix made the investment in H.265. Their House of Cards Season 2 is done in H.265, and that's why they're touting the ability to stream in 4K. But everybody else is pretty much aligning to the future. I mean, they're really setting themselves up for the future, and that's why they're backing VP9. One of the beauties of the VP9 encoding standard or codec is it's royalty free, and H.265 isn't.
Oh, well, it's like an exciting time. Whoever ends up winning the war here between VP9 versus H.265, it's still, I'm excited at the fact that we're going to have 4K streaming at with I guess a manageable file size, right? So. And part of what I wanted to speak about later was a little bit about 4K, but since we're talking about it, I might as well mention it now. I really think it is inevitable that everyone in the next few years, or maybe the next 5 years, will end up having a 4K TV. And it's whether or not we actually have the devices to actually use the content, right? Or to view the content. So we'll have, right. I said that the wrong way. It's whether or not we will actually view the 4K content or not. So just because we own a device, doesn't mean we're going to be viewing everything in 4K. It's, I guess you just have the ability there. Much like people that probably have 3D TVs, very rarely ever use a 3D, or even like if you're at Sam's Club or wherever you are shopping, Best Buy for a TV, you're going to see these great deals on these 3D TVs, and the first thing that comes to mind is, my God, I don't want 3D, but if it's bundled in there, I might as well, have it, I guess, but I don't want it. So it might be the same thing with 4K. I think that, in a few years it'll be the standard, and whether or not we actually are able to view a lot of content, that's another thing. I'm sure it will come. It's good.
No, you're totally right, because everybody will benefit from 4K, and we reported this actually in a previous episode. Not everybody is going to have great content, but of the people that are able to, and it's going to be pretty much everybody that will be able to experience 4K, where you're used to viewing content in, let's say, an SD resolution, you'll now be seeing content at an HD resolution.
Oh yeah, good point. Mm-hmm.
So 720p or less is now going to be 1080p or I, and then and that's a big deal. So everybody's kind of going to notice better content. Mm-hmm. I think that's what the spec brings. And yeah, you're right, Jennifer. If you buy a 4K TV or not, and we are going to discuss this as part of our CES coverage later, but whether or not you buy a 4K TV will not impact the bottom line of you being able to experience better content. Mm-hmm. I think everybody's going to benefit from the standard alone, as opposed to just the hardware that takes advantage of what the higher elements of the standard allow, if that makes sense.
That does.
So
yeah.
Yep. So, but yeah, that's a great point. So, but yeah, I mean, I buy 3D too, 3D Blu-rays, and I would like to think that it's better encoding, but it's not. But I don't know. Maybe it's a psychological thing. You want the best.
So you have a 3D TV?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay,
no.
Okay.
But I never know if 3D TV is going to be like the de facto standard. So
I don't think so. Yeah, that was like such a gimmick, and I'm still surprised that I see a lot of. But they're so cheap now too. Those 3D TVs that are, it's kind of built into it.
Although the geek inside me has to question whether or not you've watched Pacific Rim in 3D.
Oh, I did watch Pacific Rim, but I didn't see it in 3D.
Oh, okay.
I liked it. Did you like it?
Loved it.
Yeah.
It was by far my favorite movie of 2013.
Yeah, it was awesome. And it was really neat to see Charlie, what's his last name, Hunnam, and the two guys and Clay, I don't know his real name in life, from Sons of Anarchy play different roles in this film. So.
Oh, right. I actually, one of my Christmas presents was Guillermo del Toro's diary, and he kind of draws alongside his notes, but he discovered that actor, and
Which one, Charlie?
Perlman? Ron Perlman?
Perlman, I think.
Yeah, he kind of discovered him in his second coming. I mean, he's the reason why he has such a big career right now, because Guillermo del Toro decided to do an independent vampire film with him.
Oh, is that something?
I think it was called Kronos, or I think that was it. Yeah, Kronos. Yep.
Neat. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. So it's interesting because I want to say Ron Perlman.
It is. I think that's it. It is. Mm-hmm.
He's like in pretty much every Guillermo del Toro film. But anyways, just thought that was a cool thing that I learned
is cool.
About. Yeah. So yeah, VP9 seems to be it. And I'm glad that the industry is kind of standardizing who or what they're going to go with, because that's pretty much a requirement if you want to commercialize anything and start producing a bunch of players and great hardware. So, so elsewhere in the news.
So we have a story that comes from the Guardian. And actually, let me ask you, have you ever used DuckDuckGo?
No, actually, and this is the first time I'm hearing about it, so why don't you tell us
so DuckDuckGo is an anonymous search tool. And the interesting thing is, it's basically, it's anti-Google, or it's not anti-Google, but it's, where Google is, they track pretty much everything, and DuckDuckGo does not. So it's a privacy-focused search engine. And in 2013, they served over 1 billion searches after the huge surge. I'm sorry, actually, God, I can't speak today. What's wrong with me on this Sunday?
You're doing great.
Yeah, thank you. So anyway, they served over 1 billion searches in 2013, and this is actually all because of the Edward Snowden issue, all the revelations that came from that. So until those files that were detailing the state surveillance, the search engine received only 1.5 million queries per day, but in the weeks and months following the all the NSA hubbub, the numbers of users actually more than doubled, and it's just amazing to see the growth. There's actually a chart on this website, on the Guardian, on this, and from where it started to where it's ending within 28 days, and it just increased dramatically. So DuckDuckGo's pitches to users is kind of, like I said, anti-Google. It doesn't store any personal information such as IP addresses, prevents searches from being linked to certain individuals or to yourself. It keeps your data safe from third parties, and has encryption enabled by default. So it's definitely worth looking into if you're interested, or if you're a little bit paranoid maybe about having your search results tracked, and you really want to remain private and make certain that data doesn't go anywhere. DuckDuckGo would be probably a good tool for you to use.
Do you remember the days when there were so many indexing engines, like Lycos, and Yahoo had their own search engine, and of course there was the Bing. Actually, I think Bing was something else. I forgot. And then there were even other search engines before that. But I don't think it's a bad thing to have search indexes. I mean, I think it's actually a good thing. But having said that, the Snowden revelation just this week was a pretty big downer for me, and just had my jaw dropped. I don't think I'm still over it, but I posted a link to a slideshow that he leaked on our Google Plus Tech Anarchy page.
Okay.
And I don't know. There's what people perceive of what our government's doing, and then there's what our government is actually doing. These people that are flocking to DuckDuckGo probably are pretty intelligent individuals. Maybe they're already in the tech industry, but after the last slideshow, which was released, if you think that this is a way to dodge whoever the NSA is doing, forget about it.
I am trying to find that on our page. And you've been very busy with posting a lot of content, which is wonderful.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that's great. So I'm just having a hard time finding it. But that's I'll definitely have to take a look at that slideshow. And, I don't necessarily believe also, like, okay, if I use DuckDuckGo, that everything's not going to be recorded. I kind of think that everything is anyway. Anything that I'm doing where there's a soft copy of it, that can be traceable. Anything that I'm doing in my real life, physical life, if I use a pen and paper, that's not traceable. I mean, that's kind of like the way I think. I think anything that's digitized, anything that's put out there in vibration, anything is definitely traceable. So, but so let's say in theory that DuckDuckGo, that it is definitely a safe way to search. Still, I don't. Maybe it's me because I'm not searching for anything that I don't care about other people knowing about. Like, I don't really. You know what? If you want to see my search history, go for it. There's nothing I'm searching for that's risque or bad or illegal. It's fine. But maybe there's a lot of people that do search for stuff and they don't want people to incriminate them, and they want a safe place to go.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think search indexes are great because ultimately the goal of a search index is to find what you're searching for. But if people are using this index or search tool to dodge the NSA, then they don't know much about what the NSA is doing. And that's my only point. I wish there were more search indexes out there because competition's great. And, I think Google search is okay, but what do I have to compare that to nowadays? Mm-hmm. But then at the same time, and Jennifer, I Skyped you the link, and I was trying not to talk about this article, but you keep on dragging intelligence into this podcast. But yeah, basically, and it was on Spiegel.day, but it was an expose into the NSA's TAO hacking unit, one of many around the country, and pretty much are duplicating every single packet known to man. Now, wow. Granted, I talked to one of my coworkers, colleagues about this, and he kind of smiled, and he's like, well, they're saying that it's like minus 50 degrees in Texas, in the Ukraine or Russia, wherever. He says, but that's not true. And, and if you want to draw parallels to this story, there's a lot of misinformation going around. And, I wouldn't be surprised if the NSA still had Snowden on their payroll, and this is their way of getting at the Obama administration by leaking this information.
Yeah.
And then watching Obama try to deal with it.
I guess, that's what he said, your friend, bringing up the whole thing where it was saying that it was negative 50 in Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is true. Like, I in other countries, news is being portrayed completely incorrectly about things that are happening here that we know that are actual facts. And vice versa. So it really is. It's kind of like, how do you know who to believe and what to believe?
Exactly.
It really, yeah, it's really a shame that that the truth is that we're so jaded to believe anything out there anymore, right? It's almost impossible to really take things and just give people the benefit of the doubt. And
it was a great point that he had. I felt really bad for these past few episodes spending so much time on security because I was getting pretty into it, and I was kind of believing everything I was reading. But the more I think about it, there was a book just released that the Obama administration is responding to about how government is so big and the bureaucracy is so great that hardly anything can get done. I just find it hard to believe that something like this can be done by the NSA, CIA, or anybody. And I almost would err to believe that they are making their programs greater. They're making them sound more pervasive, just to kind of cut hackers off at the pass. You know, information is power in this economy, and whether it's fabricated or fact, I mean, it doesn't matter. It's so, you know, I mean, to me, it sounds more plausible that the NSA really isn't doing this stuff. Matter of fact, they might not even know what they're doing right now. You know, as opposed to, you know, I believe the slideshow called it like planetary surveillance is what the NSA calls it. That they duplicate the packets of everybody around the globe, and that's how they tapped into Angela Merkel's line, because they're duplicating everybody's packets. But you know, I don't know. It just, you know, I just
it's weird.
You just don't know.
Yeah, you don't know, and it is hard to believe. I mean, it's like, how could there be that much? I mean, and why?
Nothing on the internet is cited anymore, and that's disturbing.
That's true.
You know, I mean, pretty much, you know, I'm really looking for like I talk about this time travel article and later in the news, but that's cited. And then the dog poop story, that's cited. But some of this NSA stuff is like done from
not cited.
Anonymous sources and you know, leaks. Like, we are now prepped into, you know, understand that there's going to be a leak every week, and we don't even like try to come up with an authority for the story. There's no authentication. There's no fact checking. It's just online everywhere.
Well, what do you have next in the news for you?
Well, I have a dog poo story.
I want to hear about this. I found this one interesting.
So apparently, dogs have been pooping along north and south magnetic lines or poles, and you know, I've had one of those moments where maybe after a few wines, I'm kind of contemplating what my dog knows and I don't, as to where to go and where not to go.
You know, because they turn around and they turn around in circles and they smell, and they have to pick exactly the right spot.
Yeah, it's like they know this huge secret that I don't know, that I'm not aware of. I'm like, dude, come on.
And to us, it just looks like it's ridiculous. Just stop and go. The ground is the ground. Go. You know.
Now, I've seen news stories where like these amateur scientists actually try to plot out the points of where their dogs are going to the restroom, and I think after the release of this headline, they feel like idiots for spending like 10 years plotting the poo coordinates of their dogs, when actually it was just the magnetic poles, man. They were actually smarter than their masters. They were just aligning to the poles.
So it's they want. So they go on the north and south. So basically, they want to go poop in a north to south direction.
Yeah, but don't ask why, because you'd have to be a dog.
Now I gotta, you know, I'm thinking about bringing my compass on my, you know, like the compass app out on my phone, right? And just kind of, you know, observing this.
This is according to the geomagnetic field, and I got this article from Live Science, and they're looking for true north, which is determined by the position of the poles. It's actually the opposite. The dogs are looking for magnetic north as opposed to a true north, which is determined by the position of the poles.
Okay.
And then I'll actually post this as well. This link talking about magnetism. But magnets have a north pole and south pole. Opposite poles attract each other, blah, blah, blah. These poles are referred to as magnetic dipole. Magnetic dipoles are electric currents, and electric currents both give rise to magnetic fields. Why they would align themselves with the magnetic field, I think is fascinating. Because, you know, birds, they'll fly from north to south, south to north, and that constitutes their migratory patterns. But we assume that that's the weather, but I'm kind of wondering if it's not something else.
Let me just say something about birds, not to get off on a tangent, but I am
That's perfectly allowed in this show.
Tangents, yes.
Yes.
I'm just, when I'm outside walking or doing, you know, hiking, whatever, and I'm watching these birds, it just amazes me, the flocks of birds and how they move all together at the same time, and they just back and forth, and they all go to one tree, and then they all go to another, and they know exactly, they're just so in sync. How are they so in sync?
It kind of makes you feel like you're the odd one out, doesn't it? I mean, all of nature seems to be in tune with one another, except for humans.
Except for humans, yeah. We have to develop technology like computers, the internet, and things like that in order to stay in tune with one another and talk to each other. Instead of being able to vibrationally through our heads telepathically do it, we're so blocked out by all the junk and the chaos and all the nonsense of being a human being that we're disconnected. And so we develop this stuff to create those frequencies, to be able to be on the same frequency and talk and connect. Versus animals, they're not caught up with all their junk and they connect, you know?
You say create, I would like to say we think we create these artificial, I mean, we're really creating artificial experiences. We're not really experiencing much of anything with a glass screen. Mm-hmm. Animals are, you know, and I don't know. I guess that's one of the many reasons why I'm the proponent of maybe like an Atlantis, or, you know, that human nature came here, or humans came here from comets and did not come from Earth. Because I mean, the more we find out about nature, the less I feel comfortable being part of it. You know, just knowing about it, being totally aware of everything that we're doing to our ecosystem and the planet as a whole, whether you believe it or not. I mean, we're still harming the planet. And, you know, I just don't think that's a natural thing. I just don't really feel part of it. So
I don't think it's a natural thing. I think that humans have lost their way. I think that we were initially placed here and we are supposed to harmoniously all get along and get along well with the planet, and the planet provides everything that we need it to. But the fact that we have this overpopulation, we have these idiotic human beings that have become very greedy and dark, and that is what has been taken over. And you know, it is, I think, up to us to turn things around. And I think the reason why we feel so disconnected is the fact that there is so much negative energy around us with it's just, and then even the mistreatment of animals, and humans have this righteousness about them where they think that they're the best, and these animals are beneath them.
Or secondary.
And
exactly.
It's not that way at all. I mean, it's wrong for them to think that way. And anyway,
well, it's totally fine. I mean, it's not amazing. I mean, it's no wonder why so many people gravitate to technology. Pioneered by Steve Jobs, who was an orphan, because he was trying to create a relationship with technology. And I know there's a movie, Her, that's out that kind of goes deeper into that subject. But you know, you know, I mean, just it's hard to see like a light at the end of the tunnel too, and that's what's frustrating. Is that you want to think that people are going to be more communal and that they're going to come back together. You know, I mean, we were able to organize against the British because we were able to talk amongst one another and understand how passionately we were about this concept of freedom against tyranny, because we were able to organize in coffee houses and pubs in the United States before it was the U.S. But we don't get that today, and everybody's voice is different. And yeah, I don't know. I just hope that people radically change.
Yeah, so. I also feel, and I don't even really know how to articulate this, and perhaps I even mentioned this on a past show, but I just find it interesting, though, that we do have this need for connection, and we are using this equipment in order to get it done. I really feel that we are blocked to be able to do this telepathically or with our minds, and that we're capable of so much more, but there's something that's blocking it. And it doesn't make sense to me, the fact that you and I are connecting right now. Because why? Because we are tuned into the same exact frequency over technology. But why can we not tune into the same frequency without this technology? Why do we have to have this tech create that tunnel for us to connect? But why can't we do it elsewhere without that? We can, but it's blocked. There's something, and that's a whole nother segment, and I'm getting into my metaphysicalness right now. So.
No, I think I have one word. At least in my opinion, I think it's a matter of safety. Mm-hmm. It's safer to be anonymous. I was listening to your last show on Get Nerdy With It, and in your show, there was this separation between what's anonymous and what's public, and what's anonymous and what's private. And, you know, I think Twitter does so well because it is anonymous and public, and it's what people want. And Facebook, I think your guest said that it was public, and I forgot what the opposite of anonymous was.
It was, let's see, anonymous and private, public, and well, I guess public would be the opposite of well, oh my gosh, what would be the opposite of anonymous?
but Facebook is not. Facebook is anonymous and private.
Yeah, it is anonymous and private. Well, yeah. No, it can be. I guess this all depends on how much you decide to share. I think it falls into all the different sections, all the different quadrants, because
come on, Jennifer. Nobody shares everything on the web.
No, not everything.
Everything. You have to. I mean, you have to be true to what anonymous means, and yeah. But you know, on the web, it's all anonymous. Period. Whether you're on Facebook or Twitter, just the fact that you have your name there does not mean that you are who you say you are.
It's definitely a controlled environment of what you want to portray. You're right. People do not 100% say, this is me, this is everything about me. So what I portray about Jennifer Ruggiero is a very controlled public portrayal, right? That's what it is. It's not, I'm not saying, you know,
you don't have to go personal, but yeah, I mean, I think everything is controlled in a matter of speaking. And we may not think that it's controlled, but it is. But, I mean, I don't see any difference from a Facebook profile and, let's say, a War of Warcraft character. I think maybe, actually, you can probably deduce more about an individual based on gameplay style than how they post on Facebook.
Yeah, yes, you're right, because they're putting out there what they want people to see, so that those people can paint a picture of them, and that picture is what they're wanting to show. You know, so and even just like, you know, our mutual friend that has gone MIA, now I'm wondering about him. Okay, was that really his name? Is that really who he was? Maybe there's a reason why he's missing. Maybe, you know, maybe it isn't because of death. Maybe it's something else. But it makes me really question, how much do you really know about these folks that are online, you know, that are sharing their photo, and you talk with them, but do you really know them?
Yeah, no. I don't like to make the web. I don't like to make a point of having the web be a forum in which I get to know somebody. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's just a law that I have. But I think that is a great tangent because, getting back to dogs pooping, I mean, it's a very natural core thing that animals do, and to find out why they do it, I think is interesting. And it makes me wonder, if we didn't have the toilet, would we kind of do the same thing?
I wonder. Yeah.
I think that would be a greater experiment.
It'd be interesting. I wonder if we could what if we were to build a home and place our toilets positioned in the home so it's on the north-south magnetic.
So you're thinking like a yin and yang kind of thing. Yeah. You can build off those spiritual forces.
So if you were to strategically place your toilets in the same, using the logic that the dogs use, right, would you have a better bowel movement?
This Tech Anarchy is sponsored by magnetically aligned toilet systems.
Oh, gosh.
I can see it now. Okay, again, if anybody takes any idea from this show, we accept check, money order, or cash.
I could just hear the sound effects that you're playing next to us right now. The toilet flushing.
I was thinking space alien music along with the toilet flush. What do you think? Funny. Getting back to news though, and it kind of goes into the Snowden stuff, but I see that you have facial recognition as a news item. That's a huge part of Google Glass, though, isn't it?
Well, it's not built into it yet, or if it is, it's not. Let me rephrase that. It's not promoted within the app. So, the story is actually posted in SingularityHub.com. And it's facial recognition app for Glass challenges Google's ban on the technology. Now, facial recognition is the epitome of loss of privacy in a digital world. No one can disappear into a crowd or trust that his or her whereabouts at any given time will actually be remained, unknown. And so wearable devices like Google Glass will offer or can offer something so that if you were to see somebody, it would tell you who they are. So it's called facial recognition, and also it also does wink cameras, so that if I wink my eye, it will take a photo. So right now, I don't see facial recognition in my Glass. I don't have an app that's showing that. But they say it definitely is coming. So there's something right now. It's some developers at Facial Network, and that they are launching a facial recognition app for Glass called Name Tag, and they are hoping that Google will change its policy on facial recognition within Google Glass. The app will run on Android and iOS smartphones. So it's basically it will compare a photo taken with Glass or a smartphone camera to its database of faces and returns with the person's name, additional photos, and social media profiles. So the thing of it is you'd have to take a picture of the person in order for it to tell you who that is. And it all depends on whether or not that person's photo is in their database. So it's definitely a unique, app. I would like it even better. I think if I were to walk up to someone and just kind of would recognize them and tell me who it is without my having to take their picture. But, it also kind of maybe raises some privacy concerns. However, if you want your information in there and it's in this database, you'd have to opt into that. So,
So how is this any different from, let's say, in iPhoto, it has a feature called Faces, and Faces will go in and basically identify all the faces in your photos, and you can kind of categorize your photo sets based on individuals that are in your photos. So
I think it's because, like with Faces, you are telling them initially, this is Tim, this is Tim's wife, this is Jennifer. You're telling them who these photos are, and you own those pictures, and it's just it's your private tagging for you, not for publicly online. But then this is just somebody that, you take a photo with somebody and it will cross-reference it with this database, and if it sees that they recognize the picture. So if I take a picture of a celebrity, it would come back and show me who it is. So it all depends on who is in the database. And also, I guess it comes to question, how do they get their database? Who is it going to be? Any celebrity out there, people that have been in jail, that kind of stuff, public photos with names attached to it, or, how is that going to work? Will they end up partnering with Google or Facebook or something in order to help with that recognition? And, so I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. So
I always thought the Google and the CIA kind of alliance together for some facial recognition thing, but now I'm seeing it was actually Facebook and the CIA got together with facial recognition.
Oh.
So I don't know if I thought Google was included in that.
Well, Google will do something where, no, maybe not. I don't think it does auto tagging. I think it will look to see if any of your friends maybe have a picture of you and they might suggest that you're being tagged.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think Google does that. I know Facebook does.
That's weird because I just assumed that, that's, I'm looking for Tim Harris in Google Images and I don't come up at the top, so I guess it must not be that precise.
Let me see. I'm kind of curious to see if I come up Jennifer Ruggiero.
I know that Images has always been a great place for SEO, and you always want to kind of name your images correctly.
Who are these other two girls that pop up before me? Why am I not the first one?
Oh, I don't know. You'll have to call Google.
Get Nerdy with It pops up. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, because you are actually an authoritative voice for Get Nerdy With It, according to Google+.
Well, it's popping up on the Spotlight Show, radioshow.com, which is another podcast and he was talking about it. And my About.me background pops up. My dog Leo pops up. My dog Leo pops up on a website called cnive.com. What the heck?
Oh boy. This could be a rabbit hole for you.
Oh, it's a Vine. It's a Vine.
Oh, someone used your
on Vine. Let me see.
You do have a Vine account, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I was hoping you did.
Yeah, I do have a Vine account, but I'm wondering, cnive.com. What is cnive.com?
I don't know, but I wouldn't go to the site, or I'd turn off your JavaScript.
Well,
who knows?
It's interesting to see. Oh, there's a picture of Ron from. This is funny. These photos from Parks and Rec. Just because I think I posted a picture of his T-shirt on Pinterest one time.
Well,
Anyway.
I wonder if that came up as a false image. I mean, it's one thing to say that you can do it, but then hearing about things like that makes me question how precise it can be.
I'm wondering if it's also pulling up all this stuff because I'm signed into my Google account. Probably so.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Try just signing off.
Let me sign out. Yeah.
Even though I'm signed in on my account, I've always been fighting other Tim Harrises out there in the world. So.
Okay, let's see. I'm not signed in right now. I'm going to Images. I still pop up as number 3. That kind of aggravates me. I think I should be number 1.
Well, there you have it.
I don't like that. I don't like the fact that there's all these other two Jennifers.
There's no number 1 there's no number 3 for Jennifer. It has to be number 1.
There's a lot of Jennifer Ruggiero pictures, but I do see a lot of my pictures in here as well. There's a cute picture of my dog. There's a picture of when I went hiking. Yeah, there's a lot of random pictures that I've taken that show up here. Very interesting.
It's weird. I'm starting to see females and people not from this country.
I see Tech Anarchy.
Lots of pictures of Princess Leia. What's this Princess Leia stuff have to do with Tim Harris?
There's my old Galaxy S3 phone. There's another Tech Anarchy photo.
Maybe I plus... Oh, yeah, I know. That was because we have our logo coming up with probably Get Nerdy With It or something like that.
There's my father. There's Durian Ryder, Harley Johnstone, the vegan activist. Just because I interviewed him once. This is funny. It's interesting to see the photos that pop up when I search. There's the Facebook Tech Anarchy tag banner.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Anyway,
that's cool. So we're getting some traction with that banner.
So that's interesting. So everyone should take a look and just Google search your name and look under images and see if you pop up. There's definitely a lot of my content that pops up. I still do not like the fact that I'm number 3 on the photo. I think I should be the number 1 person. I don't know who these other women are. They have my same name, and clearly they're not as active online as I am, and they should not be.
So if there's another Jennifer Ruggiero listening to this podcast, Jennifer Ruggiero will pay money to be placed as number 1. How much can we go for?
I have no idea how to make that happen. I need some friend at Google, I guess, to make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd pay
yeah, your connections there.
Some money. Yeah, that's funny.
Well, just okay. You know, software, Google. That's pretty cool. I mean, so are we getting back to the article? Are we talking about just iris detection, or are we talking about? Because I know you mentioned iris detection. Now, is that something Google Glass currently allows? Is iris?
No, it's not doing iris. It's just doing a face detection. So all it's doing is, in order for you to use this app, this name tag app, is that you would take a photo with someone. So you could wink your eye, take a photo, and then it would cross-reference it with that database, and then it would show you their most recent public Facebook message, whatever it is, the most recent Google Plus message that they posted, so you can kind of read a little bit of content about them. And it's called Name Tag. I think it's super cool. I really like the idea, but I don't want to. I'd like for it to pop up automatically. I would rather that than having to take a photo of everyone, because I don't want to take a photo of everyone, you know. But it would be kind of cool, like if I met some guy or something, right? And I could just take a photo and do a quick search on him, right? And see what he's all about. That'd be kind of cool.
Wow.
You know? I mean,
wow. Match.com needs to be listening to this podcast. That would be a great idea.
Yeah.
If you're single, you can do like instant searches. Instant match results.
If they're in the database.
Yeah.
But
that's
chances
awesome.
are the guys in North Carolina, they're so not tech savvy that they would not be in the database. So
they might be in a database.
Yeah, they're in the jail database, in the prison database.
Yeah, so we'll call this app Photo Wink, right? And with Photo Wink, you can do a cross-index of all government agency services, find out if they're wanted, what type of traffic tickets they get. You can actually build a profile on an individual and maybe a quality score based on how good they are as citizens.
That would be awesome.
There you have it.
That'd be awesome. I would love that.
Well, I just asked because I wasn't aware that Google Glass had 2 cameras, one inside to detect the iris and one on the facing the other way. Yeah.
I guess it's because it sees what you're doing, like, so I can scroll, and I guess it detects whether or not I wink, so it's definitely seeing what I'm doing. So I'm sure it will be able to see if you're looking at something or someone or.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Well, I also posted in the show notes that Sony, on their PlayStation 4 console, they're doing the same thing. They have iris detection capabilities with the camera you can buy. I just don't think they're really using it right now. And that's one thing you'll find out if you're a PS4 owner, that maybe only 60% of the consoles, or that's a high number. Maybe only 30% of the console is actually being taken advantage of right now by developers. But yeah, there's iris detection capabilities for it as well. So,
Neat.
but yeah, that's kind of scary. That I don't know. I would definitely want an opt-in kind of feature for this.
Yeah. You definitely would have to opt in. Yeah, I mean, it would be... I don't know. I mean, it's definitely... It's cool on an invasive side of things, right? I think it's cool for the end user. Like, yeah, I'd love to be able to kind of just research people and see what they're all about and, do some research on them and, But at the same time, yeah, would I want people to do that about me? Well, I'm an open book on the internet anyway, so I really don't care. But but for the average person, I don't think they would.
Yeah. Yep. Well, yeah. So be careful walking the streets with Jennifer Ruggiero around because she just may be looking up your profile.
Yeah, that's right. Beware.
So, beware.
You have another interesting story I want to hear.
Yeah,
about
may I talk about time travel? Because I'm just dying to.
I love time travel.
So I didn't know this was happening, but apparently it was. But scientists had started an experiment where they would look for time travelers on Twitter.
Oh.
And they looked for time travelers using the hashtag Comet. Let's see, what was it? Comet. Oh darn, Comet ISON. And they also looked for the article or hashtag Pope Francis. Right, their hypothesis was that if time travelers did exist, if they were going back in time, then they could be using Twitter as a way of telling people that they exist. And so they kind of said, well, maybe they'll use Twitter and use the hashtag of these events that have not occurred yet. That would be kind of an unobtrusive way of talking about the fact that you're a time traveler, but not actually talking about it.
Oh, so they were searching tweets prior to these events happening with
That's
those
correct.
hashtags. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and what did they find?
They did not find the time travelers.
Aw.
Unfortunately, no. But I think two things are interesting. One is the fact that this study even happened at all, which means that a corporation had to have been funding it for the study to exist, or it was just someone's outlandish idea of a thesis for whatever paper. Or and that too, the fact that they think Twitter, as opposed to, let's say, Google Plus or Facebook, would be a better tool, going back to my anonymous statement, to find time travelers.
Yeah.
That's when you know that it's actually public, is when scientists are actually saying, yeah, we think time travelers would be talking about this on Twitter.
That's funny.
So, unfortunately, though, the hypothesis is based on one misconception, and that's that Twitter will be around in the future.
Yeah, that's something I was thinking too. I was wondering, like, why would they why Twitter of all things? And is that really going to be what people are communicating with? And then even I don't know. It just kind of seems kind of. I mean, would they? Here's another thing. Why would they tweet? Because they don't want to throw off the whole time space continuum. So
and again, it's
yeah.
Right. It's bad for advertisers because of that question you just asked. And it's why Twitter's public offering is doing so bad right now, because of their ability to bring in advertisers based on costs and other metrics. But the advertisers are saying the same thing that you just asked, is that, it's great for a public forum, but can you actually retrieve information from Twitter? Yeah. Can you go backwards in time? The timeline happens so fast. And even the scientists in their paper, they acknowledge the fact that they're just looking for hashtags. And I think even on Get Nerdy With It, you talk about like hashtags and its importance. But I mean, if you're not using hashtags and you're just talking about stuff, you're not going to be able to really find that just because of the flow of information. Advertisers are kind of having the same problem with retention on Twitter. And
this study is just funny too, that they would even think that people would, travel maybe into the future and then come back and then tweet publicly about these events that haven't occurred yet. I mean, it's like,
I equate this to looking for alien life via radio signals.
Yeah,
I find this. I'm amused, but that scientists actually believe that aliens are talking at the same wavelength as humans. When, I mean, who are we to to even assume that would be the case? Like, ants really care to communicate with humans. Even if fire ants knew about radio technology, I don't think they'd want to communicate with us. But yeah, why would time travelers even want to say who they are?
No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't do that. And because it could throw everything off. I mean, it could just That's number one rule. Is if I'm a time traveler, number one rule of time traveling: do not speak of time traveling. Do not speak of time traveling.
Yeah, it's like the number one rule of Fight Club.
That's right.
We don't speak of time traveling. Well, I mean, it's not like this study is just random. That was just, I mean, it's actually been done before. Once, May of 2005, a graduate student by the name of A. Doré at MIT, they actually held a convention for time travelers, but no one came up or showed up. And then again, Stephen Hawking did an experiment in July 2012 where he did a time traveler convention, but he only sent out invitations in the future. The event had not happened yet.
That's cool that people are studying it, and I am of the believer, just from different documented evidence, that those wormholes and those places on the planet do exist that allow for time travel if the conditions are correct and that it is actually possible. I really do believe that. But it would be great to be able to actually study that with people that are alive today. And maybe there are people alive today that have experienced it. I think it's cool that they're talking about it and they want to learn more about it, and they're open to it, and that's great. I don't know. I would love to find those places on the planet that allow for something like this and the conditions and be a part of that. I think it would be so great. So cool.
So if you could go back in time, you would like to communicate to people of that time period about time traveling.
Oh gosh, yeah. What would I do if I were to go back? I think.
Would you tweet? Would that be your first instinct
to
tweet,
it would not
would you
be
rather
tweet.
Game the stock market or something?
No,
I got a better question.
If you could cure things or stop things bad from happening, but then you're altering the entire future of history, right? You're altering everything else
on your timeline.
And everyone else's too. I mean, if you think about it, because like the one little thing that you do in the past could create a different opportunity for other people to get together, and other people being born, and preventing other people from ever being born. And so it's or let's say you decide to cure an illness from occurring, or a certain plague, or something from happening, then what? Then all these other lives will occur as a result, right? Maybe, and other people probably will not be born as a result, because different, it will change everything. So you can't really just, I don't know.
So what if you could stop Hitler?
Yeah.
I mean, there were 4 attempted assassinations on the guy. What if one succeeded?
Yeah.
I mean, then how many people do you save?
You save a lot of people, but then also you're changing. I mean, so how do you change things? Is that gonna? It's. I
think it's totally possible if you think about multiverse theory and it's not like I believe it's not like sliders where you can go backward and forward through time. It's more like you can go backwards. You can change your destiny, just how your timeline, but you can't really change everybody else's. Even though they might be directly impacted by your decisions, it's still your timeline that you're going back and forward on.
But if you were to kill Hitler, then that would affect everyone else.
It would, but you're still on your timeline.
Yeah.
In the quantum world, the universe the universe only exists because you're looking at it.
Multiple realities. Yeah.
It doesn't really. When you look away from, let's say, an electron particle, it all of a sudden becomes this cloud.
Right. It's only
of uncertainty.
Yeah.
It's the observer, right? The observer looks at the electron, sees a defined path. And I think that's kind of true in the time travel sense, is that you could change time, but you would only change time
in your observation in your world. Yeah.
So, but again, like Twitter, it's an interesting study because Twitter is seen publicly by everybody. So,
what would you do? Would you change something dramatically if you were able to go back in time? Or would you go to the future and see what lies ahead?
No, I'm more interested about the past just because the past seems to be written about a bunch of people, or the past is written by people that can write about it. And history, in my mind, is not as defined as we would like to think it to be. I mean, and I'm more interested in history. Like, where did my ancestors come from? I have great Native American ancestry. And we talked about this in a previous episode, but I kind of be curious, what their reality was like. I would like to just be a fly on the wall.
It'd be an amazing vacation. Would be if you could do time travel and travel back into a certain time that you want to observe and hang out, and you'd have a place to go that will not affect the people around you. I don't know. I think I would love to go back maybe like to the 60s and experience the 60s like as somebody that's young and having fun, and just I think that'd be a fun time to live. The 50s and 60s in particular, I think would be really a lot of fun.
When people actually air quote change things.
Yeah. I think it'd be fun. Like when my parents were growing up, and when they were younger. And
I'm sure they won't want you going back in time.
No. But I think it'd be, and also in an innocent place, it would be simple. I think it was a simpler lifetime, and just to experience that, I think it'd be kind of neat to.
I was looking through my grandfather's slides. He had these slides, and I actually took photos using my iPhone of each slide. There's actually slide apps that you can get that are specially designed to take pictures of slides, and it like frames it right for you and has like photo filter features or whatever.
Cool.
But there's your perception of what transpired just based on what you see in film. But then what I saw on the slides was slightly different. I saw something that looked more real. I would like to think that we've advanced in society, but, I'm looking at these slides and I'm still seeing like, not Texaco, but the Pegasus, the red flying Pegasus. I forgot what logo that was.
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of who it is. It's but it's a gas station.
Yeah, but I'm seeing gas stations that the Americans built in Japan. Mm-hmm. And that's where he was stationed in Japan. And there's still those logos around today, and not much different. I mean, there's not a different color palette, there's no like just drabs in the scene. I mean, there's bright, vibrant colors, and yeah, I don't know. It's just a different type of reality. I guess it was kind of a juxtaposition for me. The film is fun to escape to, but ultimately that's all you're doing. It's not really I guess it's why I didn't like Lincoln as much as I thought I would have, because it's kind of the way filmmakers would like to perceive Lincoln, but I knew he wasn't that character based on memoirs and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of seeing like this westernized interpretation of who Abraham Lincoln was, and that really wasn't who he was. And that was disturbing. But, time travel would be great in that instance, in that I could go back and actually see the man for who he was.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
George Washington had like a wooden jaw. I mean, he like lost all of his teeth. His whole, you see these stoic pictures of him, but I mean, you don't really like interpret the fact that he had like facial reconstruction.
I didn't know that. No.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
Anyways, time travel is always an interesting subject.
Can you imagine dental care back then? How painful that would be?
Pretty painful.
I can't even imagine. I can't imagine that, and I do believe in reincarnation. The fact that I lived in previous lives in these other life must have been so challenging back then.
Yeah, or more simple.
It was simple. I think in some times it would probably be more simple, but at the same time more challenging to do day-to-day things, and maybe not even having the wonderful conditions that we live in now, with our air conditioning and heaters and just electricity and
if there's one thing that has improved, I think, in my opinion, it has been quality of life. I mean, obviously, we see that there are numbers to support that. We live to be longer. Mm-hmm. But then, I talk about the same thing to someone that's impoverished or out of a job or whatever, and it's totally different. So, I don't know. Again, going back to your podcast, because I thought it was quite inspiring, your latest episode, Get Nerdy With It, because your guest did attribute technology as being the reason why we have less wars.
Yeah, Keith Tier, when we were talking about Keith Tier. Yeah.
I thought that was fascinating, because we can see each other, and it's so true. I mean, we're actually playing games with, people in the States are playing games with people in Korea, maybe not North Korea, but in China, no less. It's very hard to start a war when,
I'm telling you, one of my closest friends online is in Pakistan. I have friends all over the world. I'm sure you do too. And we wouldn't be able to put faces and see what's going on really there if it weren't for the internet and the social structure it brings, so it's quite interesting.
I work in a large telco company, and I know you do as well, and I am exposed to many customs and diverse people, and it's always fascinating to come into the office every day and encounter so many cultures and just, how they present themselves, and if that's one thing that technology could bring to, or technology does benefit, it's that we all have the same goal, and that's to make good technology, no matter where you come from. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know. Going back to time travel,
just kind of like I gotta also just bring up the goal that we have. It reminds me of we brought up Pacific Rim, but in that film, the whole world came together for the greater goal of saving the planet and saving the world, and they brought all their technology together and created this tech, and anyway, you're right. I think it's kind of
so do you think everybody on the internet is kind of unified, and maybe they could all be trying or attempting to answer a question?
I think a lot of us are. I think a lot of us are I think we do have a need for socializing and for bridging the gap and for seeing the world, and we do want to connect, and I think that's why the technology is in place. I think that the truths are, what is the truth and what is a lie, I don't know, but a lot of the stuff is coming out. Let me just say that. Things are coming to the surface, and people are becoming more aware. I think the world will change as a result of technology and as a result of the connections that we do have. Whether or not that, I just hope that these connections are not stifled, I guess, or
Yeah. Well, again, getting back to your podcast, there was one line that I did not agree with, and that was, he was making an application, or your guest was making an application where he was wanting it to be completely open and completely free, but then, a lot of people started like sharing porn on it and all that stuff, and he stopped that. And he actually prevented it. He built his filters. Mm-hmm. And that, to me, was a no-no. You can't have it both ways. So he wants it free in his mind. So he obviously has a different interpretation of what free is. But in the old days, the internet allowed for anything and everything. And those are the days that I miss. It wasn't just the porns and whatever else people got into, but it was also the freedom of thought that was being shared all across the world. And the day when Google and other players started building their firewalls, whether they be for advertisers or whatnot, was the day the internet died. Mm-hmm. Because that prevents ideas from spreading no matter what culture you're in. So I've always been of the opinion that the company, the corporation, the multi-international corporations is the only place in which this idea of total freedom can flourish. And I'm just really disappointed that the internet was not that place. But unfortunately, the companies that are responsible for delivering it still have to meet the demands of shareholders. So they still have to be open to people from across borders. But yeah, that's my main rant.
That's a good point.
So, but I think this is a great way for CES 2014 because we are you and I do talk about 4K in our coverage of what transpired last week, and I think when we talk about what the ultimate goal of technology is as a human race, I can look no further to the TV set and its ability to bring ideas to everybody, and whether or not we will see Ultra HD, as it's being called, or 4K in other realms, being advantageous to the consumer as a carrier for those ideas. I mean, will it be enough, I guess, is the main question.
Will 4K be enough?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for now, maybe, but no, I don't think it will be. I really think that we're going to a stage or that what we'll have in the future is maybe something. I keep on having ideas or thoughts about Iron Man and Tony Stark and his computer system, and I want something like that. I want three-dimensional, not even three-dimensional, just holographic things that I can move around with my hands, and that type of interaction is kind of like what I want. As far as 4K goes, I think it's nice. I have not, I think I might have seen one at Best Buy or something, but yeah, I think it's great to have a beautiful display and something that might be smart as well, some type of interactiveness with it. I think that's great, and we definitely want things to look very real, and this will help it get looking more real, just like HD for us. Before HD, we had no idea that how horrible our TV was, right? And how unreal it actually looked. And then HD looks pretty darn great. And I'm sure that we're going to have some holographic stuff in the next 20 years, and we'll be viewing that and we'll be like, how do we even view TV and stuff before? I think it'll be completely different. But
Well, I think, we do the second segment of Tech Anarchy is the CES coverage, and CES 2014 just occurred, and there was a lot of talk about 4K and Ultra HD, and everybody's weighing pros and cons. I do have a general question for you, Jennifer, because I wasn't able to find this out myself, but is it true to say that we'll only be experiencing 4K content on a television set larger than 50 inches?
Oh, I thought that there were some that were smaller than 50 inches. I didn't think that was true.
I was trying to look for them, but I could not find one.
Maybe that they're only that they're not even going to bother with it. Maybe they don't even want to bother with making it smaller. I don't know though. That's interesting. You're right. I haven't seen anything advertised for anything smaller, but you just keep us seeing larger and larger and larger TVs.
I believe I saw maybe a 24-inch computer 4K monitor, but that doesn't really. I mean, anybody can. Well, the newer monitor manufacturers can tout that their stuff is 4K anyways. It's at a resolution that's like 3000 by. It's greater than that. So that to me is just a marketing point. But I was trying to look hard for 50 inches and below TV sets that are 4K.
I'll do a search for...
Okay, while you're doing the search, let me get into my first item. Okay. So basically what Jennifer and I did was we scoured the internet for all the coverage because I wasn't there, although I was saddened to find out that Jennifer actually had tickets and did not use them.
I did, yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, well, I bought Google Glass, it was like, okay, I have money to spend, but what should I spend it on?
Okay, I definitely understand that. Yeah. I would have done the same thing. But next year, you'll have Google Glass and CES tickets, hopefully.
I'll be able to go next year. You should go next year. Well, the tickets are always free for the first couple of months of signing up. You just have to sign up in July or August, and they're free. Mm-hmm.
I didn't notice that. Yep. I did not know that. I would only like to go if I had product. So
if you had product to share?
To share, yeah.
You wouldn't want to go as an observer?
No, it'd just kill me. I cannot walk around seeing all these vendors tout their latest and greatest when I know it's just not good enough. I just can't do it.
No.
I mean, some of the tech looks really cool, but to be honest, it was really hard trying to find the showstoppers in CES this year. I think, there was one interview, I believe it was on CNBC, where the interviewer, or the person being interviewed, said that 2014 was not the year of innovation, it was the year of software. And that next year will be the year of innovation when all this software is acquired. So right now we're seeing ecosystems that are disjointed from one or another. Although in the case of Sony, I do object to that highly. But in other instances, I do see that to be the case, that people are touting software, and unfortunately they'll all probably end up on the Galaxy device of some form or fashion, and everybody will forget that they even exist.
Hopefully not.
But on the note of Samsung, that their Ultra HD TV I did find to be quite impressive. I think Samsung did debut a TV that could curve on command. They clicked a button and the TV kind of moved into a more curvature shape.
The bendable TV.
Yeah, bendable. Not bendable completely, but close. And I do think it's interesting, when you think about, when you ask yourself a question, why would I even bother with a bendable TV? And think about this. So these are apparently large. I think this was an 84-inch model that was being tested. Now, your eyes can only focus on one thing at a time, although I know people would like to say otherwise. But, and as an artist and illustrators out there know this, you really focus on a focal point, and the more focal points you have in a piece, the less your consumer viewer is going to be able to discern what you're trying to communicate. So less focus is better. But knowing how TV works, especially if you watch CNN or other kind of broadcasts like that, you'll see all these banner ads everywhere. What I want and what I'm hoping that I see from the industry is a return to focal point. Now that TVs are becoming cheaper, larger, our focal point will be less cluttered, but we'll see the ads on the side where these curvatures occur. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of hoping the same thing when we discussed the Samsung phone, the newer phones being curved. I was hoping that they kind of applied like some type of functionality to that tapered part of the screen, like maybe it would be for gestures and sliding up and down. But I know that's now not the case. They're saying that that's to actually view the screen at an angle, which makes no sense to me. But I had to put it out there, at least to where it's recorded, that I don't mind the clutter. If I have to see clutter, I'd rather it be out of my focal point,
right,
and be on the side.
Yeah,
you know,
the ones that are intrusive that come through the middle of the screen are just the most annoying things ever, and it makes me even not want to even go back to that website at all. Not that we're talking about websites, we're talking about TVs, but same thing. I mean. Just watching the screen. That's an interesting parallel that you just drew. You just drew a parallel between the failure of desktop and what we already see in TV. And I think it's a valid point. But so Samsung's executive vice president was on stage, a visual display business. And he has a quote in here that I thought that was worth mentioning. And he says that the U.S. on average takes about 6 years for people to upgrade their TVs. But their thought is if we create more value, maybe they'll upgrade their TVs not every 6 years, but 5 or 4 years. Oh, wow.
And he was kind of equating that to the cell phone industry and how people, how the people, at least who can afford it, buy their phones every 2 years.
So is that why the prices are more affordable now, do you think? That because they want more people to upgrade more often? I mean, because I'll tell you what, like to me, it definitely enters my head every time I see a TV at an affordable price that's similar to the same size. I mean, I have 56 inches and it works well for me. But when I see maybe like a 60-inch LED for $1,000 or $1,200, and I think, wow, that's, I spent X amount of money on my 56-inch, 5 years ago, or no, actually it was longer than that. I don't know. I got it in 2008, I think. But
so you've had it for a while.
It's a DLP, yeah. It's a DLP, but it looks beautiful and it works well, and it's a gorgeous, gorgeous image, and I really don't need a new one, and so. But every time I see that low price point on an LED, I get tempted, and now, but my whole thing is why would I spend money now when I know 4K is coming out, and those are going to come down in price. I think maybe in a few years I'll buy one, but, I guess maybe that's where he's going, like lower price points, something with more value, and people will upgrade every 5 years. Do you think every 5 years is too much though to upgrade a TV?
I actually think that, I think average America, according to one of Yahoo's slides during CES, I think average America, which is pretty much 98% of the country, does not upgrade their TV sets, despite the resolution. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I am always grounded when I think of this story. I was in the Apple store, and there was a couple there that was looking into purchasing an Apple TV. At the time, they were asking, "What do they need a TV set for this?" And they were looking at this small box. That is average America, Jennifer.
That's cute. How were they old?
Yeah, they were old, but that's average
cute.
America.
Aww.
And, it's like, it's why, I think it's like Xbox, they have a warning on the back of the box, TV not included for people. But, you know, I think display is one of the last things that people think of. I think people think about content. And that's why, you know, and we talked about this in depth in the last podcast last year. That's why Netflix is so big right now, because they got a lot of content for like $8 a month. Mm-hmm. That's cheap, you know, and that's all people care about. But I also think they care about great content. So, and that's why I thought the quote was worth mentioning, was that if you're Samsung and you think your value proposition is in hardware, and you think that your value proposition is hardware, and people will buy more TVs more often because of the hardware, I think you're wrong. Mm-hmm. I think so you're too. Jaded, mm-hmm. because ultimately it comes down to content. I mean, content is king. It doesn't matter. These people still have their regular TV sets.
It's hard to justify getting rid of something that you bought 5, 6, 7, even 10 years ago that costs so much money, and then what? You get rid of it, and then where does it go? I mean, it's not broken, so why do you need a new one?
Well, I saw boxes, you know, out on the curb from people's Christmases, and they were brand new TV sets, brand new HD TV sets. And I'm like, man, you know, there are going to be these gorgeous 4K displays coming out this Christmas that are going to be at the same price. But they don't even know about 4K. They don't even know. Probably.
They don't even know, or they don't care. They just, I know. I mean, that's like, you know, and you see these low price points, and it's tempting, you know. But then if you know 4K is that coming out, it's going to be right around the corner. You know, why spend money on this kind of stuff? And so I don't know why anyone logically would buy a computer. I mean, a computer, what am I saying? A TV today. It doesn't make any sense to buy anything.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, but at the same time, I think people find that the value proposition is price and content. I mean, if they can save a few bucks, they may buy an Apple TV, or they may buy a Roku so they can get their content. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where the industry is. Unfortunately, you know, I think there are great advances happening in hardware, and I actually go into this a little bit in the show notes, but, you know, I think 4K displays, I mean, it's like, I don't want to repeat what Steve Jobs said over and over again, but you really have to see it to believe it. I mean, or feel it. I mean, to see how crisp 4K is. It's like almost lifelike, like you were saying. But then at the same time, we see a Roku TV debuted at CES. Mm-hmm. And I'm not a big fan of that, because that means that I get Roku streaming on the TV, but do I get another HDMI port so I can stream Apple TV? So
that was another one of the stories that I had as well. I think we had some of the similar ones. We have, Roku did team up with both TCL and Hisense for some Roku TV sets, and it has the same interface as what you see in a Roku 3, even the updated Roku 2s. It's a very similar interface, and and also the TV sets right now, they're only like between 32 to 55 inches, and they're coming out in the fall. So what does that say, though? Like, you're right. I mean, are they going to have multiple? I would imagine they wouldn't launch a TV without multiple HDMI ports, because you're going to want to play your PlayStation 4 or your Xbox One, you know, on this device, as well as, you know, I just, for example, with my TV, I only have, since mine is an older TV, it only has 3 HDMI ports. I just bought an 8-port switch that works beautifully, by the way, for my TV, and now I have all my devices plugged into my 8-port switch. So,
that's impressive. You decided to go switch as opposed to a Wi-Fi router?
For HDMI.
I got you.
For the HDMI ports.
I got you. I have a 2-port switch. Okay. So cool.
Yeah. And yeah, so I mean, I would think that these TVs would have that on it. This is my view on the Roku TV. I think if smart TVs are going to exist then I'm glad that Roku TV is part of it. Because the smart TV interface that exists today is horrible, is never updated. It's the most disgusting, terrible, ugly UI piece of junk ever out there. And the fact that Roku is coming to the table and they're partnering with television companies to put their UI into the system is wonderful. That's great. I am still not a fan of smart TVs. I'd rather have something separate. But if the Roku software is going to be upgraded and it has enough of what it needs to run, that's great. If people are going to buy a smart TV, I would rather have Roku technology than the other junky technology that's out there. So that's my view on it. I still don't think that smart TVs are fantastic. I think that they should be I like having an external box to plug in instead, just because that part is renewable and I can upgrade that. I mean, spending $100 on another box a few years later is not a big deal, versus if you buy a TV, you're stuck with that, and that's kind of where I am with it.
Well, let's get into it a little bit. What exactly are the specs of a Roku TV? Like, what was debuted?
Let me see here. So I have a link to a story in the show notes, and I just pulled it up and it went away. So hold on just a second.
I have it up here, and I'm looking for I'm looking for one thing, and that's the number of HDMI ports. Does it have HDMI?
It has to. It doesn't say it does on here. It doesn't show it. They were all just talking about the Roku interface. But it would have to. I mean, who would launch a TV without HDMI? Because you need...
Roku would.
No.
If they want because Roku only works with their channels. Roku TV does not work like if I were to connect DirecTV to the TV. Then I'm using DirecTV's interface.
Well, it has a thing up there, TV, cable, game. So you go so it's got to be up there at the top.
But that's impossible because TV is not a la carte. So TV cannot control like Walking Dead on A&E at 8 o'clock.
I really think it's a television set that has the Roku items built into it. But at the same time, you can also plug in your HD antenna to do your regular local TV. So it has to. They wouldn't, or you can plug your cable in there and have your regular cable. So it's got to have just for like when just like you have a smart TV today. You have a smart TV today, like the Samsung TV, the Samsung Smart TV, which sucks.
I know. I bought one and took it back the same day.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah,
so you have your regular TV that you watch. You could do your games. You can do your Roku, your Apple TV, your HD antenna, your satellite, your cable, whatever. And then there's another section on the TV that's the smart stuff, where they have their Netflix, their Hulu, their Pandora, and all that stuff. And so that's kind of the way I think it works with this Roku TV.
Right, but the broadcaster is the one determining what the interface looks like. So, like DirecTV at 8 o'clock, that's their interface. I mean, it's not going to be the Roku interface.
Yeah, it's not going to be the Roku interface at all.
Right.
It's going to be the DirecTV interface, or when you're changing channels with the cable, it's probably going to be the cable interface. I mean, it'll be, I think, whatever the interface is of whatever is plugged in.
And I think that's ultimately the problem. And it's, again, two interfaces. So what's the advantage of having the stream, the player, embedded in the TV as opposed to having it separate?
Oh, there isn't, except for stupid people that...
okay.
That's the only advantage.
It's just less devices.
You appease the simpleton. That's the advantage. You're appeasing the simpleton.
Yeah. I mean... Okay. I mean, I was thinking Roku was making a completely exclusive. They were trying to kind of mimic this a la carte solution with a TV set that only they made. It was only their content. I was kind of expecting, and I can't find the tech specs, so I don't know. I might be right on this, but I was expecting to see only one HDMI port or none.
Let me see.
Because at some point, Roku has to make money on this TV. I don't see how they would make money paying for all these licensing, like through HDMI and all that stuff.
Let's see, I'm trying to see if I see anything about Hisense or TCL, Roku. Maybe there's ads or perhaps I think what it is that these television companies, these manufacturers want to create a smart TV, but they don't have the software to do it, so they're teaming up with Roku.
Yeah, software. I think it also goes back to kind of like my Apple TV prediction for this year. The distributor owns the look and feel of their interface, like DirecTV or Comcast or whatever. And it's with them that you have to do the deal with if you want to unify that experience. Mm-hmm. If you're a secondary piece of hardware like a Chromecast or Roku device, you're going to be switching somehow or another, no matter if it's plugged in, if it's integrated in the TV or not. You're gonna, and you know what? I speak passionately about this because I'm a new PlayStation 4 owner, and I love watching Netflix on my PS4. It's a beautiful experience. The one thing that just agitates me to no end is the fact that none of the PlayStation voice commands work for Netflix.
Oh, that's aggravating, yeah.
So I'm great with hands-free, launch software app or launch game or whatever, and then Netflix starts up or whatever I had previously. But that's it. I can't actually control it. And so I'm back looking for the controller again, Yeah, so I'm really like chomping at the bit for a unified experience, and I think that's what Apple is going to deliver first.
Oh, I would think so. Yeah, they would think they would have to develop.
Yeah.
If they're going to come to market with something, it's got to be something that's different, and hopefully it is a unified experience.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping so.
But no, to the tech specs, you're just seeing...
I'm not seeing any tech specs. They said this isn't going to launch until fall 2014 anyway. So I don't think they even talked about the tech specs. I think they were just bragging at the fact that it's just Roku interface that is in a smart TV. But I honestly think it's geared towards the typical consumer that doesn't even know what a Roku is. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that don't know Roku, don't know Apple TV, don't know Chromecast. They have no clue about this stuff.
That's right.
And they're getting a smart TV, and they're going to get it with a good interface. And that's the audience I think they're hitting with that. Not someone
they're
like
going to
us.
get the interface, but I don't know. I was speaking to a FiOS customer, over the holidays, and their main gripe was that they don't actually click on most of the stuff that's in the UX. I mean, the fact that they buy a Roku TV, and if this is the demographic, if this is the true demographic that we're talking about that's going to be buying this TV, I don't even think they're going to use the Roku feature.
I think they would. Otherwise,
they're just going to watch their local TV.
I think they would use the Roku feature if they were buying this TV. I think if they're buying a smart TV, they're buying a smart TV, and they're going to use the features on it. But if unless it's just a ridiculously cheap TV that's cheaper than a standard TV without the smart features, then they'd buy it. But
I think the numbers are more there that people have smart TVs, but they don't use the smart features.
And I think they don't use the smart features though because they're horrible. I mean, they are horrible. It's the most disgusting UI on every smart TV that I have seen, and I love the Roku UI. I use both my Roku 3 and the Apple TV. Those are the two devices I use the most. Yeah. And both UIs are beautiful, and the Roku 3 UI is really, really nice. So maybe they'll use it more with this. I don't know.
Yeah, well, as a UX professional, I will give this lovely tidbit of information to all aspiring UX people. Design for the female. That's it.
Design for the female, huh?
That's it. Yeah. That's it. That's the key to success.
I like that.
Just saying.
I like that.
But I am excited. I believe Apple was kind of rumored to be slated for CES next year. So I might take you up on that CES thing.
Telling you what, August, we should do like a sign up as Tech Anarchy people and go and sign up for the free badge. And
I'm afraid Leo Laporte's going to be right across from us and kind of take all the fun out of it.
No, but maybe we can do, sign up as press and go ahead of time and see some of the displays that they have.
Well, I was born in Vegas, so it'll be my own stopping grounds. My hometown. But since Apple is rumored to maybe be there, maybe not next year, that does lead me to a quote that I heard from Tim Cook right before the new year, and I was waiting to say this on the show, so I found an in. But he was quoted to having said in a letter that he sent out to employees, "I am extremely proud to stand alongside you as we put innovation to work, serving humankind's deepest values and highest aspirations. I consider myself the luckiest person in the world for the opportunity to work at this amazing company with all of you." Happy holidays.
I like that.
So when I think of what tech could involve humankind's deepest values, I am not thinking of a watch. I am thinking of a TV set.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm telling you, TV set. It's going to be 2014.
I hope so. I would rather see an Apple TV set come out than the watch.
Well, not only that, but I think it's going to be people that support the Apple TV set, other vendors that may have iOS in their TV, who knows. And I think that's why it's almost critical for them to be at CES next year, if there are going to be so many TVs and devices that support it.
Yeah. Oh, it'll be interesting, because didn't they stop? What was their conference that they had? What was it called? It was like right after CES. They do it every year.
Macworld, or
was it Macworld? No, it was something else.
It was their developer conference.
Yeah, but what was it called? That's terrible. We should know. Anyway, I thought it stopped.
We should know. I don't know.
Apple conference. Let me see. Apple conference.
WWDC.
Yeah. Is that still going on? Was last year the last year? No?
I don't think last year was the last year.
So it wasn't... Well, maybe I'm thinking about something else. Oh, well, never mind.
Because they're always developers.
Maybe it was Macworld. Macworld was a conference, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Macworld is a conference.
Did that one stop?
I don't know.
Maybe not. Okay. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's still on. It's March 27th through the 29th, 2014 at the Moscone Center in San Francisco. So it's still happening. Okay.
I would love to be at that conference, though, man.
That would be fun. That would be fun.
But yeah, so this year is going to be really fun, and I think it's going to be huge for the TV industry. Mm-hmm. Having said that, what did you find at CES?
So as far as TVs go, I didn't want to. We already spoke about the bendable TV, but one thing I thought was really cool was the Sony's 4K ultra short throw projector. Have you seen that?
No. And I have this whole segment on Sony too.
Oh, well, this is really neat. It is a projector that sits out 20 inches from your wall, and it projects a beautiful 4K image up to 147 inches screen it puts out there, and it's of gorgeous content. So it's beautiful. It's like this nice device that just sits on the floor, and then it just shoots out. So the nice thing is you don't have to worry about getting in front of the projector, and I'm sure the price tag is tens of thousands of dollars and kind of expensive, and maybe only celebrities will have them in their homes right now, but evidently it is coming. I'm not sure when it's launching, but
this is really, really cool. Yeah, I'm looking at it, and it boasts 4096 by 2160, which is 4K resolution with 2000 lumens of brightness, but does so with the inherent convenience that an ultra short throw UST projector offers. Very cool.
I wonder if it does it on the wall, I mean, this is one thing does the screen need to be up, or you have to have a white wall, I guess? I mean...
Yeah, the picture that I'm looking at on Gizmag is a white wall.
It's a white wall, right.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
or you just turn off the lights.
What happens if you don't have a white wall? How is that going to look? Like, my wall is not white, Not that I would have the money to buy this anyway. But...
It sounds like you do.
No, yeah, I'm looking at the same one as you are.
Miss Google Glass.
Yeah, $1,600 is a lot different than, I don't know how much it's $30,000 to $40,000.
It's nothing on a layaway plan. No, Sony makes awesome projectors, and it's one of their core. They're definitely doing this for the business, for the enterprise, and I think it's a great move for them. Everybody's going to go 4K. Teleconferencing is going to go with 4K. It's a great move for Sony. I mean, and I speak about this more in depth in my CES coverage, but yeah, it's just they can do no wrong right now. And when I think of projector, I think of Sony projectors. I don't think of really anybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, they really stay true to what they do as a core, and it's really cool to see them not forget about stuff. Google.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But that was it as far as what I had in the TV space. We spoke about the Roku TV. I wanted to talk about that as well, so we already discussed that. I was impressed with a couple of the car guys that were out there, like Audi and Ford. Did you see stories on that?
I've seen the advertisements for the park assist, so I figured that was probably one of the items.
Yeah, the self-drive. It's the self-parking car.
Yep.
Where the video on it is just so cool. I mean, it just literally just parks itself into a tight space. The guy gets out of the car, he hits the button on his little keyless remote, and the car parks itself and into that tight space.
And I will make this confession to everybody listening that I cannot parallel park.
Well, then this would help you with that too, I would imagine.
I was just waiting for this technology to come out so I could be like, oh yeah, no snap.
Yeah, and then they also have a self-driving car that assists in traffic jams.
Okay, yeah, that I cannot do.
Yeah,
but I think we already know that.
Yeah, well, that would be like,
Do you really need assistance in a traffic jam? You're not going anywhere.
That's true. You really don't.
What
You aren't
do you need
going
assistance
anywhere.
for?
I think it says it watches if you fall asleep. If you're in those areas that there's really long traffic jams. I mean,
Jennifer, come on. Have you ever fallen asleep in a traffic jam?
No.
Either have I.
No,
Neither have I.
I haven't either.
So I want to see the person that did.
And then another cool one is the Ford has vehicle-to-vehicle communication. And the way that works is, let's say one car slams on its brakes and the car in front of you swerves, and then you're in the third car. It will stop because it will communicate with those other vehicles. That's neat. Yeah. That
is the future of automobile driving, is communication from car to car. Ford's onto something.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
That's huge. Just imagine being able to tweet in your vehicle, hands-free, and be able to know what everybody around you is tweeting about. That we actually talked about this. Like, what if we were at a stoplight, or if there was a traffic jam? And Waze kind of does this, which makes me wonder what Google really has planned for Waze.
Oh, yeah.
But Waze kind of has this social integration already. Just, you have to type on it on your phone. But what if you could just hands-free say that there's an accident going on, and all of a sudden everybody in close proximity is notified?
Yeah, that'd be
via instant message.
Just instantly, yeah.
Yep. So right away, I mean, because that's my biggest problem in traffic jams, is that I'm always notified of the incident at the incident, as opposed to be
ahead of time.
Yeah, so I can actually adjust my driving. Yeah. So so car to car is huge. Also, I think car to car is going to be a big player with some of the stuff Apple is working on. They got their new Bonjour protocol that they're working on. And
what's it called?
And they're Bonjour.
Oh, Bonjour. Okay.
Yeah, Bonjour.
Yeah.
It's their way of networking.
Yeah.
But they're rewriting it, and I don't know I don't think Mavericks incorporated the new Bonjour, but but also the iOS 7 has their whole networking, multi-peer connectivity thing going, and I think the car is a huge player in that. The internet, as I see it in the future, is not going to be about this huge pipe that everybody goes through, but it's going to be about hops. And people kind of relay information from point A to point B using hops as opposed to the big pipe. And I think that big pipe is going to be used for big media like Verizon, AT&T, whatever, that need to distribute 4K content. But then the peer-to-peer network that we're going to be interacting with is going to be through hops. And the biggest problem with that working is that people live so far away from each other. We're pretty, there's rural and suburbia that we have to consider.
That's true.
But if we can get out to rural areas and suburbia, as we've referred to in earlier podcasts, we would actually have more connectivity. We would have
I'm so sorry.
Options. So
if you hear this bird, I'm listening to you, but this bird is crawling. I have a parakeet that's flying, and he's like all up in my face right now. I'm trying to get him away.
I was thinking the birds, so we're pretty close. Like all of a sudden our viewers are hearing this frantic scene from the birds. And that's where Jennifer Ruggiero dies.
I had to move. I mean, no, really. I'm moving the mic around, trying to get away from this bird, and he keeps on coming.
Now, if you had Google Glasses on, I would love that. So have kind of like an outtake.
Yeah, I did.
Visual.
I don't have them on because I have my hoodie on to protect me from the bird. So
yeah,
I don't have it on.
That's awesome. But yeah, I mean, self-parking cars would also benefit birds, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Maybe, yeah.
That's a stretch. But yeah, self-parking cars, it's a great way to utilize the technology early on. But I think car-to-car internet connectivity is going to be a big player.
I agree with you.
It's the future, so. That's really cool. And Audi's working on it, I see. So
yeah, and Ford was, I think, launching something at CES about it. And
5 years out, though?
Really? 5 years out for the self-driving in traffic jams is what Audi says.
I guess I'm spoiled.
Yeah.
I expect to see something now.
Well, maybe it'll be sooner. I mean, it could be.
Is that the point of tech conferences to some people? Apple, I'm not naming names, Apple, to debut hardware and technology before it even comes out, like before you even have a working prototype.
I know.
Apple.
it's
I'm still dying to see a Mac Pro in an Apple store, by the way. Haven't seen one yet.
Oh, aren't they there now? In the
Nope.
Mac? Are they sold out or something? Or
they say that they're so new, they just can't keep them in stock. I'm like, really?
They don't even have a display?
You don't have it. Steve Jobs is rolling in his grave right now.
How do they not have a display? That's ridiculous.
So people are literally buying these devices based on probably what tech journalists are saying, which is crazy. Yeah. But anyways, 5 years out is still, I don't know. I'd like to see it now.
Yeah, I'd like to see it within the next couple of years. It'd be better if it were now, but no, it's not now.
Ford stuff is now, though, right? Why am I seeing this stuff in Ford commercials?
Well, it may be. I think it is possible for it to be now. It's something that can be even added to current cars today. So yeah, the Ford stuff is available now.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I'll be able to park in tight spots. So that's awesome. We're out here in Texas, so I have the luxury of open space, and I understand that that's a concept that most people have to get used to living in like New York City or whatever. Mm-hmm. But still.
So what else do you have in your CES news?
Well, I'm all Sony. I mean,
Ah.
I tweeted about this and posted it on the Google Plus page, but
About the PlayStation?
Sony can just do no wrong right now. I mean, overnight, within a 24-hour news cycle, they practically became Apple.
Good.
So,
That's awesome.
I mean, I'm a PlayStation 4 owner, and kudos to my wife for being able to find one. But I love the device. I don't know if you noticed, but I aired kind of my PlayStation 4 gaming session last night.
No, I didn't see it. So you filmed it and put it on
Yeah,
YouTube?
it was on live TV. And it was on Ustream, and
cool.
people could watch me kind of defeat these Man-O-Wars, which I'm sorry, I did not defeat the Man-O-Wars. I spent 2 hours trying to, but
how did you do that? Is anyone able to share their content of what
Anybody.
they're playing on Ustream?
anybody,
Are you kidding me?
anybody.
That is so cool.
Sony has embedded in their controller an option called Share. There's no more select and start. It's Share and Options. And when you press Share, that's it. You're streaming your gaming session.
So anything on your screen is
Anything.
being shared.
Or I could record. So, if I wanted to show myself finally defeating the Man-O-Wars, I can do so and record it even. There's like 3 options you have. You can record a game session, you can share it live, or you could save a snapshot.
So the audio that goes out, is it just game audio or
It's
does it
streamed.
hear you?
It's game audio. You have the option to actually stream not only your mic, but you also have the option of streaming content from the video player, so you can stream yourself playing it as well.
Whoa.
Yeah. Isn't that
Oh my
awesome?
God.
That's awesome. Combine that with like the retinal scanning and all that stuff, and all of a sudden, and I told you this in a previous episode when I really sold you on what the PS4 is, it becomes a content machine. When you take like the facial recognition, all that stuff, the gesture control, it really becomes a focal point for the living room.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife and I prefer to watch the Netflix on PS4. It's just one less device, but the experience is just so streamlined, and I can play a game and just suspend it and launch Netflix. Whereas like Apple TV, I have to actually close out of apps and back out like a gazillion times. But the Sony PS4 was designed for multiprocessing, like whatchamacallit, the term eludes me, but being able to play more applications at once. And I read on a Gamma Sutra article that Sony's plan is to not just have you play games or watch content, but actually interact with apps. And that's why I think application development is going to be so hot on Sony devices. Going to my... Okay, I'm going to go backwards because I kind of segued into their PlayStation Now product that they debuted at CES, but this is a huge deal. So if you're a gamer like I am, I have multiple devices, so I'm kind of spoiled with Vita and PS4 being in the same house. But if you had, let's say, a PS4 and a Sony Bravia TV, or if you have a PS4 and, let's say, a Sony tablet, Sony, through their PlayStation Now software offering, will allow you to stream PS3 content to any device that they support.
That is so awesome.
So you'll need like a DualShock 3 controller to play the content, and that's because of the keycodes and everything involved. But, I mean, when you think of, I kept my PS3 around just to play PS3 titles, but now it looks like I can just chunk it.
You don't even need it. You could just play it. Any titles, any PS3 titles will stream.
Not so far. No, it's just right now said that they support Last of Us, which was demoed, and God of War Extension, which was demoed, but it's rumored to be a majority of the titles will be able to stream.
Okay.
No one's seen the catalog.
Well, okay, if you already own those titles in hard copy, will you be able to stream them? Like show some type of proof. Hey, I already bought this.
Probably not.
So you'd have to repurchase it if you wanted to stream it.
Well, here's the thing, and this is what I think is so revolutionary about the PlayStation Now product. They are doing what Apple did with music. It's a monthly subscription.
Oh, so it's unlimited monthly?
Now, that's what I'm thinking, is that it's going to be for I think. So they have not answered whether or not this is going to be part of PlayStation Plus, but because they haven't, I'm assuming that it's not. But even if it isn't, if you're looking at maybe like if it's anywhere less than $60 a month to play any game title in their library and stream it, that's a deal. Mm-hmm. And that to me is a whole new model of distributing video games. I mean, that right away, there's really no reason for me to go out and buy a $60 title.
Right.
When I can just stream the license. And we're seeing this in the software industry on like PC and Mac, via the App Store and through Steam and stuff, where we're just purchasing the license. And that's really all you purchase anyways when you purchase a CD nowadays, is the license. Mm-hmm. For the software.
Yeah, you're right.
It makes total sense to just stream the license. Mm-hmm. But I'm kind of curious, like if I'm an independent developer and I create a video game, where exactly do the profits go to? Like if I'm EA, I'm not getting the $60 per title, and my content's being streamed, do I get like a monthly deal? I mean, how's that work?
Yeah, I guess maybe like you get a percentage of every time your content is being downloaded or streamed, maybe. I don't know.
Kind of like Apple. Right now the supported games that they demoed, I believe, are mostly Sony titles that they make themselves. Mm-hmm. But if I were to, let's say, extend this store, and they've been touting independence in the gaming industry, like this is the console for independent gamers or game developers, they should support this. So they should also support the mechanism in which I can make a profit, just like Apple did. Mm-hmm. And if they do this, I think it's going to be the nail in the coffin for AAA titles. I really do. I think it would be more advantageous to maybe make a AAA title every 4 years, and kind of like Hollywood, maybe every 3, and just get the profit from like distribution, like Blu-ray, digital, whatever. It's crazy. It's crazy the amount of innovation that they're doing in this space. I mean, streaming gaming, that's like, wow, I can't even believe I'm talking about it. It's one of those things where I'm like, I can't believe it's actually here, but it is.
It's very exciting. Now, how much did you say a monthly subscription you thought would cost? Or
so PlayStation Plus, you have to have PlayStation Plus in order to install an app, or be able to install apps on PS4. So, and that's anywhere from, like, I spent $100 for a year, but then at the same time there are deals and you can buy it monthly. But for their new PlayStation Now product or service that they debuted at CES, it's not clear what the fees are going to be, and whether or not that's going to be part of the PlayStation Plus membership. Right. So we don't know really what it's going to be, but that's where when we talk about bandwidth, when you talk about bandwidth, it's important that AT&T, Verizon, and others, they make these deals with Sony so that you're not using your existing data cap for these perks to stream games. I don't want to be streaming a game and having to be worrying about my data cap. Now, that to me is not a value proposition.
No, yeah.
I would be willing to invest in. I would rather buy a $60 title, as opposed to paying $60 in overage fees for just 1 month,
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So, And AT&T has a new service that they announced where they call it toll-free internet, where they're allowing certain vendors kind of like unlimited or kind of like off the radar. It's based on the agreement made, then the certain company won't have to pay X amount. Or sorry, that doesn't roll into the consumer's internet data use. It's like a whitelist, whitelisting. So, yeah, so pretty huge. And then
it's definitely game changing.
Yeah,
pun intended. Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
So, and you're not a gamer, right?
I'm not. No.
But if you owned a Sony Bravia TV, I bet you could be. If you can have immediate access to maybe a PS3 library with maybe a month free because you bought a new Bravia TV. I bet you that might be, because that's one of the big problems in the gaming industry right now, is highly kind of male dominated. And how do you get more females involved in? Really, most of them I just don't think care about it. But if they had like a free month to try it out, kind of like Netflix,
maybe they would get kind of addicted to it or kind of stuck or glued to it. Yeah, I mean, just like with my Xbox 360, I don't turn it on that often, and I don't really. Initially, when I first bought it, I was like, "Yeah, this is great." And I was playing it a lot, and then I don't know, I just got kind of tired of it, and my focus has changed, I guess, or my focus changed rather. I don't know. I feel like I must be missing out on something though, because so many people really, like you, for example, and you're a very intelligent person, and you love gaming, and I feel like there's probably something I'm missing here. Or maybe I just haven't seen the light. Maybe I've been playing the wrong games.
Oh man, I am so into Assassin's Creed right now, and I don't really play Assassin's Creed, but I mean, maybe it's a male thing, but to be a pirate on the open seas and be able to kind of take out British convoys at will, that to me is fun. So, and I always, it was something that my father and I shared once upon a time. We built plastic models and fine scale models. I believe I mentioned this in an earlier show, but one of the models that he built was a beautiful replica of the USS Constitution, and we competed we actually competed with our fine scale modeling. So we were pretty serious about it. But his replica was just gorgeous. I mean, the model that he produced was just amazing. And I mean, I gained a level of appreciation for wood ships. I just love wood ships. I was big into the Master and Commander series. And then just, man, Assassin's Creed 4 just hits all the right notes. So, yeah. So, yeah.
That's great.
Maybe I'll post a video and share it.
Of you playing. Yeah.
I was streaming it yesterday and had a few watchers, and I feel sorry for anybody. If you're listening to the show, I apologize. I spent 2 hours thinking that I could defeat these 2 Man of Wars, but I was defeated every single time. And I was telling my wife last night, that must be what it feels like to be insane.
It's interesting. As we're talking, I've been searching for the PlayStation 4, and we're recording this show. Today is January 12th. I can't believe it's January 12th.
I know.
What in the world? Whoa. That's crazy. And it is still sold out everywhere. And and on Amazon, the only places people that are actually selling it is Amazon does have it on back order, but they're also selling it, for higher prices on Amazon too. I'm wondering if I should get the back order. I'm tempted. I mean, even though I'm not a gamer, I don't know.
Oh man, and the Netflix app itself is new. They redid it for Sony for the PlayStation device. You're not going to get the same experience on, let's say, like Roku. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous app. Netflix really has some good UX developers. But another thing that PS4 has to bring to the table, and that I think nobody gets this is the dual screen thing. And I want to credit Nintendo for doing this first. And I actually purchased a 3DS because I kind of like the concept of a dual screen, because when you think of your HUD, your HUD, or your map, everybody has a map in a game. It actually takes up, again, valuable real estate. And we just talked about this. I want my focus to be on the game, not the map. And the 3DS allows that. So one screen is playing the game, you're playing the game, but then the second screen, you're always seeing the map. And, so I can always look down at the map if I want to. Well, so the PS4, now with the Vita, and now, according to CES, or after CES, pretty much every Sony device out there currently gives you this capability of what they call a second screen mode. So I can have the PS4 like Assassin's Creed up, and I can have a second screen up at the same time with my map. And I believe gaming has been is actually about two screens as opposed to one.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I think the media industry just really doesn't understand that. Because I really, when I game now, I always have two, maybe even three screens with me. I have my iPad mini, my phone, and the gaming console. And now I had four actually yesterday. I had my Ustream up on my laptop. I had my iPhone up with How to Defeat These Men of Wars, and I have my iPad up with the map of the area, and then I have my game playing. So I get pretty crazy with it. But even if you're not a gamer and maybe you're into fantasy football, I can totally see you having like a football game on with your second screen being like your fantasy stats. And it's all tied into one another, which is really cool.
That's very cool. That is
so, yeah, I'm a big fan of everything Sony's doing. It's just, in my mind, it's everything Apple should be doing right now, but they're not. I don't know why, but... yeah, so
I don't know. Well, I just sent you a link in Skype there.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
And the second one?
Yeah, the Samsung bendable.
No, not that one. The one after that.
My copy paste doesn't work correctly.
Oh, it's not showing up?
No. 1 second.
Let me see. Let me paste it again. See. How about now?
Let's see.
In your Skype window?
Yeah, it's the same tiny URL. It's Samsung's bendable TV. I don't think your copy paste is working.
Oh, what in the world? It's not working?
I don't think so.
See. Oh, what in the world? What is this? Why does it keep on showing that? Never mind. Okay, it's not showing the right thing. I don't know why that's happening. Let me try it one more time for you. We'll see if it uploads this time. I use the Cloud app, and it should.
I think at this point, if we don't have Sony endorsing the show in some form or fashion, I'm going to be very upset by the end of this year, because I am one of their biggest supporters right now. I like the fact that they're staying true to their core, and they've always been about gaming, and to their console is not just about this year, but it's about the next 10 years. And when we talked earlier in this episode about how audio requires so much file size and how it's still a problem, when you think of 4K, Sony has actually solved that in PS4. The PS4 actually has support for the next 5 years of tech. And I was reading an interview with their one of their lead engineers, and they actually envision in 5 years this thing called ray tracing audio. Are you familiar with ray tracing audio?
No, I don't know that.
So ray tracing animation, or 3D, is like kind of like the stuff that you see on Lawnmower Man. Mm-hmm. It's on the fly 3D rendering, which most 3D rendering that we see in movies and stuff is what we call pre-rendered. It's content that it's not dynamic. It doesn't respond in like real time to what you're doing. And you see a lot of pre-rendering in like cutscenes in games and stuff like that. But ray tracing is like kind of like a way to go into like this real time kind of 3D world that responds to you. I mean, it's kind of what the Google VR stuff is, or virtual reality in a sense would use ray tracing. But anyways, so Sony has this idea of ray tracing audio, and so I had to look up the term, and I was just floored with what this technology could bring to the table. So really, what it could allow finally is the separation of video and audio, so that the audio is actually created in real time based on metadata in whether it be the game or the movie. And in the video, then you just have to worry about delivering the video. And
wow.
That's a game changer. That is. I mean, yeah, it's like I can't even. They're saying 5 years, so they actually had to develop that for this console, knowing that could be it, that could be something developers are working with. So so they built their processor and stuff to where it could do this kind of audio style processing on the fly while doing the game. So just I don't know.
Wow.
I'm going into geek as a
that's
mode.
cool.
So.
That's cool. Well, I just resent you that link.
Okay.
So I gotta get your reaction.
We got ooh.
I don't even know. So I might end up canceling it, but I don't think I should because it's I think I
Come on, it's an 8 with an 8-core GPU. How can you go wrong, Jennifer?
Yeah, it's definitely.
Your birds would love it.
Yeah, this bird is just annoying me. So what Tim is looking at is I just purchased a PS4 on Amazon, and it's mainly because I keep on hearing Tim talk about how awesome it is for months now. Even before it came out, and so I think I've just been brainwashed to want this, even though I'm not a gamer. And I'm thinking now, I'm like, so it is pre-order, so it would arrive in the next week or two. I think it's at the 21st of January, so in just a few days. And so I do have my time, I could always cancel, and I don't think I'm charged until it ships, but I don't know. She
purchased it, she made the plunge live. I mean, who else can say that?
I did it on the show, live on the show. Yep.
Oh man, that's awesome. Well, I think you would become a gamer. If you don't like Assassin's Creed, I love the Lego superheroes. This funny, witty storyline.
That sounds
hilarious. And then we have the Lego movie coming out this summer, so it's a perfect compliment. But on the I mean, I actually had this on my list as well from CES. I would love to own an Xperia compact phone. Because it integrates with my PS4 as a secondary screen, so it's just one less screen to deal with. But it syncs with it, which is so great about the second screen option.
That is nice. Yeah.
And if you're an advertiser, just imagine advertisers advertising stuff related to the content that you're watching. Like my wife is really excited about the Grammys tonight, and so we're going to be watching that. And it'd be great if I kind of had a second screen going on, so I could know who's who and what's what, because I have no idea.
Yeah, exactly. That would be cool.
Who built what dress? Cool. But no, the phone debuted is like has a 20 megapixel display at 2.0. I believe it's f-stop or aperture. And in my view, smaller is better. I'm one of the guys that says if an iPhone gets any larger, I just can't own one, because I like the portability of my phone. And that's actually something Sony's doing with their new Xperias. They're making them smaller, which is kind of what I want. And yeah, like I just said, coupled with the PS4, it's just hands down awesome. So, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, she literally bought one on air, folks.
I did buy one on air just now. So,
and you'll love the control. I mean, well, you're probably not used to the bulky controller, so it might take some getting used to, but if you're used to the PS3 controller, oh my gosh. No, you had an Xbox controller.
Yeah, I had the Xbox controller.
Oh, you would love this controller. It's so aesthetically pleasing. I mean, it's perfectly designed to fit in your hand, unlike any of the Xbox controllers. So bring it. Anybody that wants to debate that, bring it.
I want to try some of those I think like that basketball game and
NBA Live.
Is that it? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think I want to try that.
I like how you're talking real quietly.
Am I?
Is it a bad thing?
No, I'm thinking about the because I kind of like the sport games, like I think they're fun.
I love football. Do you like soccer? Can you follow soccer at all?
I'm not a big soccer fan, but I bet it's probably fun on the game though, right?
Yeah, you might like basketball better. There's a huge community around the soccer product. I could just never get into the rules. So
yeah, is that the FIFA one or something?
Yes,
like that?
It's a FIFA game. But no, the content. I have a Vita too. And what the PS Vita lets me do, and I'm not going to try to sell you on the Vita, but it is on sale. But you can stream your PS4 straight to your Vita.
I saw that. I was reading it. I was like, that's cool.
I do it all the time. Yeah. I mean, I have the Vita in the bedroom, and or better case in point, my wife wants to watch TV. I was immersed in my pirate plundering, and I could just stream the game straight to my Vita. I don't even have to turn it off. Mm-hmm. So
that's cool.
And then she can take control of the TV.
I love that. That's great.
So now your bird can be watching whatever, and you can be playing your game. So.
Yeah, clearly he rules. He's sitting next to me now on I have a Google TV pillow. Google TV, can you believe it? It's a Google TV pillow that's sitting on the chair next to me, and he's sitting on top of the Google TV pillow. So, he's a cute little guy.
You'll have to post a picture.
Yeah, I should. And I'll take a photo of him. Let's see. Speaking of cameras, as I take a picture of little Giorgio here, as I'm doing it right now. Oh, that's so cute. I'll send that to you. So speaking of cameras, at CES, there was a new device that works with your iPhone camera. It's called FLIR, F-L-I-R, and it turns your iPhone 5 into a thermal camera.
I saw this.
Yeah, it's really
awesome.
Cool. It's so it somehow is able to get that thermal imaging technology that they sell to law enforcement and military to fit inside of an iPhone 5 case, letting you use that technology on your iPhone 5. So it's
somehow air quotes. Somehow they got that technology in there.
Yeah, I wonder how. I don't know.
So what would you do with it? So, I mean, it kind of goes into how Kinect works. I mean, Kinect kind of uses the thermal mapping, kind of like what these guys are doing. I mean, this is an app now, which is exciting. I mean, is it available now?
It says late spring or early summer. Okay,
this would be really cool to download because I have a feeling this is what you're going to be seeing in the iPhone 6.
It's expensive, though. I mean, it's $350.
Oh, wait. Is this hardware or just software?
It's a device. It's a case that fits on top of your phone.
Yeah, don't buy this.
Yeah.
You're going to see it in the iPhone 6. I mean, this is why they acquired Connect.
Yeah,
if they'll
have that on the iPhone 6, then awesome.
Or 7.
Yeah. But it's cool. I mean, it's using like a, I could see using something like that if I were, mainly if you're outside and it's dark, and you need
I
to
was
see
thinking
things.
the same thing. That's great. That's what you provide to the show. I was thinking the same thing for my wife, because we've had the conversation, and I have a key with a knife on it, and so she, but I mean, how protected can you be? But when you start using these technologies to actually see at night, see people behind the bush or whatever, that becomes a great tool.
Yeah, very cool
for anybody. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's cool. That was another cool thing at CES that I wouldn't mind. I would definitely use it. I wouldn't want to have it on my iPhone 5 all the time, but
along with your brass knuckles.
iPhone 5S, yeah, with my brass knuckle case, I still have that too. And then I just got a Mophie the other day that they sent to me. I didn't buy it, but they sent it to me for free. And
Whoa! Hello. You're becoming a big name here. I'm starting to get uncomfortable.
No, not because of for work, for my daytime job.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay. I'm like, holy crap, she's made it.
No, I'm not one of those people. I wish I were.
Although you all are all over the internet, but making is like,
I'm number
seen
3
at
in
Fox.
Google Images.
I know, you got a lot to do, a lot of work to do in 2014.
Number 3, yeah.
So Mophie sent you their new battery pack. Do you like it?
I haven't even used it yet, and I'll tell you why. I like right now. I actually took off the knuckle case, and I have this really thin, gorgeous case. I can't remember who made it, but it's beautiful and it's gold, and it looks exactly like the same color as the iPhone back, and it's so sleek and sexy and pretty, and I like it. So I don't want to put anything bulkier on it. So I have my beautiful case on right now with my fly grip, and I like it. So I haven't even used it. They just sent it to me so for me to kind of demo and use and play with and get familiar with, and I haven't tried it yet. My battery doesn't ever go dead on my iPhone,
on your iPhone 5S
and the 5S.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
it's because you have the 5S.
Yeah.
And people that upgraded their iPhone 5 to iOS 7, they're noticing like a poor battery, and I think the iPhone, like I said earlier in an earlier episode, the 5S or iOS 7 was designed for the 5S, and I actually think the 5S gets more out of the battery than the previous phones. But yeah, that's one thing that I do run out of, though. I'm the exact opposite. I'm running out of battery all the time on my 5S, just because I'm out and about, or I'm on like I'm never at the same cube. I'm at different cubes, so I always carry my phone around.
Are you using data or are you using your Wi-Fi?
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi, okay.
Yeah.
And I wonder also if it's also because you carry just the one phone, right?
Yeah.
And I carry the 2 phones, and I literally go back and forth between the 2 phones. So maybe I use mine less.
However, I would use data. I prefer to use data, and I actually pay for it. I mean, we have a family plan, but we have a pretty good data cap on it.
Yeah.
But obviously, cell phone reception is so poor at where I work. I can't use anything. I can't even use the phone, so I have to use Wi-Fi.
Yeah. I got
So, but I did previously use data. And in that case, I actually had a Mophie for my 4S. And I just used data. I was waiting for the Mophie battery pack to come out for the 5, but it took them so long that they're just now coming out with a good case for the 5 and 5S, which is frustrating.
I should really try it, I guess. I should open it up and try it. It's been sitting in the package for the past week.
Yeah, if you're used to being on the road and stuff, I'm surprised you don't need one.
I think because I always my thing is, the second I get into a car, I plug up both my phones, and I charge it when I'm in the car. So I very, very rarely ever go dead with on my phones, except for maybe late at night or, But I guess I'm just always charging, and I think that's why.
See, I'm not. I don't like to always charge. And that's one of the many things I like about my MacBook Air. I hardly think about charging it.
That's great. Yeah.
But speaking of hardly charging, what about wearable tech? Because we've been talking about that a lot last year, and I don't know. It just all of a sudden it seemed like it's becoming less and less of a story.
I think it's becoming more mainstream, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe that's why everyone's maybe tired of it. I guess I don't know. But,
so did you see tech at wearable tech at CES?
Yeah. So there were some. LG came out with something called the Life Band, which is similar to what you see with a Fitbit or a Nike Fuel Band, but it kind of brings everything all together into one device.
This is what I want to see. This is what I want the iWatch to be.
Yeah.
John Smith is calling. That's exactly what I want.
Yeah. Are you looking at the LG one or the next one?
Sorry. This is a Razer.
Yeah, that's a different one.
Oh, my bad.
So, LG is, they are also going to do the same thing with instant incoming call notifications and remote control for, let's say, like a music player that you'd be able to use on your wristband. So it's a wristband. And it also works similar to how the Jawbone Up works. It has an LED readout, and it tracks your fitness, and your steps, and like other quantified devices do. But the nice thing is it does show your incoming call notifications, which is pretty cool.
My wife brought up a great point about the wristband tech, and I'm asking this because I know you wear a Fuel Band, but I wear a Fitbit, which I place on my hip. Mm-hmm. Is it more precise to have it on your hip than it is to have it on, let's say, your wrist?
I don't know. I don't wear one on my hip. I've only worn the wrist one, except for maybe a pedometer that I've worn on my hip before, which I lost. But you would think it might be able to track more, because with your arms you kind of. But then again, okay. So here's something else. Let's say you're playing basketball and you're throwing a ball and you're using your arms, or or in some of the routines that I do for group fitness, like combat, and I'm throwing punches. Well, if it's on my hip, it's not really logging that activity, but if it's on my arm, it's logging that activity even more. Right. I don't know. I guess there's.
But my wife and I, we walk, so I actually wanted to track my leg movement more so than my arm movement.
Yeah.
So, and that's what the Fitbit does so well, clipped to the waist, is that it measures like your legs moving. Mm-hmm. So I was just curious.
Yeah.
One or the other.
It's supposed to. I mean, it like this morning when I went on that hike, it said that we had almost 10,000 steps, and it measured, how many calories it thought I burned. And so I don't know how accurate it is. I just kind of go with it. So LG is getting into the market in this space. And then another one that was announced is something called Razer. And they launched something called, actually, the brand is Razer, but the name of the device is Naboo. And it's very similar to the LG one. It's a nice looking little band, and it has an LED display, and it shows incoming calls as well. So incoming call notifications. It works. It's splash waterproof, water resistant, but not to be worn in the shower. It lasts 7 to 10 days on a single charge, kind of like the Fuel Band does. So the OLED device, the display will show you a text, a phone call, an email, an @ reply from Twitter.
Yep, that's awesome. That's all I need.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Yeah, and then that's on one screen, and then you have another screen, and you flip your wrist, and you see the inside screen. Mm-hmm.
Now you're just making stuff up.
No.
It's two screens.
Yeah, and it says this screen displays more information like the caller ID of the incoming call or text message, the departure details of your flight, yada, yada, yada. So the other cool thing about this is that it also does your fitness tracking, and there's onboard sensors and tools that collect bio data like your steps taken, distance traveled, stairs that you've climbed, and also tracks your sleep, which is great. It's tracking the duration of your sleep, your patterns, and it has a vibration alarm. So that's cool. And
let me stop you there. So my wife uses her Fitbit for the alarm feature.
Cool.
She loves it.
She does, huh?
She does, but it only lets you set up to, I believe, 3 alarms.
Okay.
Do you know how many alarms that you can set with this thing? She wants to be able to set it for like each day of the week.
Oh, that's a good idea. It doesn't say on this article how many alarms.
Yeah, because I was at Best Buy, man, and I looked at every single wearable device, and the ones that could let you set alarms, they don't tell you how many times, and it just drove me crazy. Finally gave up.
Yeah, what's interesting with this, it says here, Razer is going to ship Naboos to developers first. Any software hackers who are interested in getting their hands on a beta version of the Naboo this month can get it for $50.
I'm doing it.
The consumer-ready band will follow in March or April at the full retail price of which they don't have yet, but they expect it to be about $100 or maybe a little bit more.
Being a proud Leap Motion owner, that Razer right away, and I've brought this up several times, they're saying that they have an API, so that's like huge.
I'm trying to find where you would actually be able to order this, and it would be nice if there were a link to Naboo in the article. There's
I am about to join their developer program.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. Do you see a link to it online?
Yep.
You do?
I do.
Oh, will you send it to me?
Yes, it's razorzone.com/Naboo.
Okay.
And I am signing up to be a developer. Because imagine this, and obviously Naboo already has, because they mentioned it in this article, which I'm assuming is kind of like their press release, but they're saying that, so not only can you plug Twitter into it, but when you literally shake someone else's hand, you automatically join your Twitter feed, they become a Twitter follower.
Oh, cool.
How cool is that?
That is super cool.
That's
super
like,
cool.
Imagine if you're doing like a business transaction, like shaking your hand is like the I accept button.
Mm-hmm. I
mean, that's great for like legal contracts and stuff.
That's awesome.
Come on.
Yeah. I love it.
According to Wire, which is the link you posted in show notes, this gives an interesting glimpse as to the sorts of behind-the-scenes actions that we'll begin to see as wearables become smarter and more automated. And obviously, I would like to think that for content creators, it has some interesting implications as well.
They seem to be a step ahead. So let me find my show notes. Somehow I got away from them. Okay, here they are. Yeah, so also in the where is it? The other thing by Razer. Where did it go? I thought I had it under wearable tech. Oh, there it is right there. Oh no, that's not by Razer. Where is it? I thought there was something else by Razer that I had in the CES news, and I can't seem to find it now.
Let's see. I'm looking.
I guess not. Maybe I did, and I didn't put it in the show notes. There was something else that I thought they had, but I guess not.
So who is this company? Because this just looks like one of their products.
Razer?
Yeah. This isn't like Motorola Razr, is it?
No.
Okay.
No, they have. Oh, here it is, right there. Okay, I found it. Okay, so look in the show notes under PC.
Okay.
Modular design.
PC.
At the bottom there.
Gotcha. Yep.
So, why is it's not popping up now? The link. So
Google's kind of weird with its copy paste.
Yeah, it's. Let me find it here for you. I'll send a link. Okay, so if you go to that link, I'm going to send it to you now also.
Oh, yeah. I got not found.
Okay, yeah. Back it up to just the best of CES. So take out the end and just go to the best of CES and hit enter. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to click on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th picture. And what it is called Razr's Project Christine. Now, Razr has some the Naboo that they showed up, but they also showed off this Project Christine, and it is a modular computer. So it's like a stackable and completely customized PC. It's a really cool looking tower, and in this tower, you just have to see a picture of it. It just has all the different components that you can take out, remove, and build as you like, such as memory, graphic cards. Each part of the machine has something different, that it offers. Do you see the picture yet?
Yes, I'm looking at this. Who is this company? Where'd they come from?
This is the first year I've heard of them, but they launched these 2 awesome products. So let me do a search here, a Google search for Razr. But isn't that cool?
I need to work for these people.
It looks really cool, right?
Yes.
Razr Incorporated. They have 15,000 followers on Google Plus. I'll follow them too. And let's see. I guess is it RazrZone.com?
Yeah, RazrZone.com. Yeah.
Is that who they are?
Mm-hmm. I'm already I'm subscribing for their demo wristband.
What did you put down for the reason? I think I'm going to do the same thing.
It's a secret.
Okay.
But I asked if they support JavaScript API. Leap Motion does. So JavaScript is kind of a language you see on the web. So if this wristband can interact with anything on the web, I am totally excited.
Yeah,
like actual content. And on the same note of wearables, because you had 2, but I noticed that you failed to mention the Sony wearable, which also syncs to PS4.
Did I put that in the show notes?
Did you? Because I've heard about it.
Let me see. I put something else. I put an armband in the show notes. You talked to me about the Sony one.
I talked about the Xperia Compact, but they're building their own wristband as their bracelet as well.
I wonder, is that what let me see what I had underneath, because I had another wristband under the wearable section, and
okay, yes, we've covered this before. This is just their smaller wristband device.
Oh, the Mayo.
Yeah,
the Mayo. They had talked about this last year, and this is just another version of it. But it's a gesture-controlled armband where you can control different things that are connected to it through the armband, through your motions. Yeah.
Right, and again, one of the most important things about this wearable, as opposed to any other wearable on the market, is that Sony is actually supporting developers, and they have an API already for developers to use to mod their watch. And actually, based on this picture that I'm looking at, they have, I believe that's either a Prius or a Nissan Leaf, and you can see the charge, which is awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm having a geek moment.
That is great. I like that.
I have my Nissan Leaf app out all the time on my phone, and it just makes so much sense for it to be on your watch. It's like one of those things I wish I thought of. That's awesome. I mean, don't you see everything kind of coming together where, you can see the status of your car. You'll soon be able to see the status of your fridge. You'll be able to know what's cooking. You'll be able to know what temperature your house is at, and you'll be able to control it all. Mm-hmm. And it just makes so much sense to be able to control it all on your wrist. I mean, it just makes so much sense.
It does. It really does. It's very smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. I'm glad you posted. So you did post this. I had heard that this has this does connect to your PS4, which again interests me. With that second screen stuff. Like, how does that work? Being a controller, that would be really cool for like your PS4 if you had like your watch as the controller.
Yep. That would be cool. That'd be super cool.
Well, awesome.
Yeah. And I know we're going here over 3 hours on time, so
we had a lot of ground to cover. We had 2 weeks.
Yeah. There were a few other things for CES, but maybe I'll just. I think we've talked a lot already about everything, so I mean, I can pause it here.
I did notice that you talk about Steambox, but we'll definitely be talking about micro consoles. Maybe we can get into it next episode. I know that's a subject that I wanted to get into last year, and now it seems like this year is the year for these micro consoles to be making their debut. But I think maybe we can hold off on that for another month.
Yeah.
And you did talk about PlayStation Now. Oculus Rift is interesting. We talked about that, and John Carmack going over to Oculus Rift.
We did talk about that earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
A few episodes back. Yeah.
Now that you know what it looks like, after you've seen the slide with the picture, do you think you'll ever have one on?
Yeah, I think.
Will you wear it?
I would definitely wear it. I would like to try it on, and when I try it on, if it's as awesome as people say it is, yes. I was talking with Sarah Slocum on Friday night, and she's a social media person. She was at CES, and she was telling me that she tried it on, and it was just so cool. It was just amazing. And would you wear it?
I wouldn't wear an Oculus Rift, but I would wear a Sony headset.
Yeah, that would do the same. Yeah,
and it's coming out this year.
Oh, nice.
Yep. Sony's coming out with their own PS4 headset.
Awesome.
Just saying, the Sony headset is more streamlined. It's not as bulky. It might be a little more pricier, but if I'm putting something on my head, I will pay for less bulk.
Yeah, I mean it is. If you look at the picture of the Oculus Rift, it looks heavy. Even like it looks like it'd be. I don't know. Cumbersome. People say that they actually get immersed in what they're doing while wearing the headset, but I just find that hard to believe, being that you're wearing this huge device. So I don't know. It needs to be light, maybe 4K supportive. So we'll see. I mean, but Sony has their own coming out, so it'll be interesting. I mean, I did hear on Meet the Press the other week, they were talking about technology to look forward to in 2014, and one of the pundits brought up Oculus Rift, and everybody around the table was like, "What's that?" You're
that right
me.
now was the death knell in the company in my mind.
Oh my gosh, that is funny.
And the guy was just like, he just shut up. He was like, "Oh, sorry."
Oh wow, that's funny.
And he was like trying to convince them like this is the future, but they just couldn't get into the fact that they had to wear a device on their head. Yeah. Oh man, that's great. But Google Glass, I think, that might be adopted. So it's light.
It's light. It's not. I think as they maybe come out with different form factors, make it more sleek, even smaller, and less. Cyborg looking or Geordie looking, less Geordie looking, then
Oh, so have you heard that comparison yet, or are you speaking from experience? Or
Yeah. A lot of people kind of say that it kind of looks like that. They don't come up to me in public and say that.
Okay.
People in North Carolina are much too kind to do that.
Even though if they were thinking it was Star Trek reference, I'd be like, hey, these people are pretty cool.
Yeah, I would say, it is like that. I wore it to a meeting the other day, and it was kind of like I was presenting and training these guys.
Jennifer Ruggiero, that tech head.
And I walk in with the glass on, and maybe two people, there were like 15 to 20 people there. Two of them knew what it was, and the rest of them didn't know. And so I started, the meeting saying, hey, I know I kind of look like a cyborg or like Geordie LaForge from Star Trek, but this is Google Glass. And so I did my presentation, and then afterwards I was like, okay, do you have questions about Google Glass now? And, some of them did. But, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what do you think, is there like Google Glass, does it have Wi-Fi? It does have Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah, it does, but you need your device to connect to the Wi-Fi initially. So it's kind of like,
right.
When you have another device within your home and you need to access it, it can't access the internet on its own. It needs like a bridge to help it.
It needs to be tethered, yeah.
Yeah, so officially you first set up the My Glass app on your phone, and then you those two talk to each other, and then you tell it to connect to a certain Wi-Fi network.
Okay.
So it does have Wi-Fi, and then it also uses your device's data if you are out of Wi-Fi range.
So there is 3G.
Yeah, but it uses your phone for the 3G or the 4G.
Oh, so your phone has to support tethering.
Oh, yeah, over Bluetooth. It uses Bluetooth.
Oh, that's smart.
Bluetooth LE, I think.
Very nice. Okay. So, yeah, that's cool. I'm hoping that the wearable tech uses Bluetooth as well. That's going to be the biggest thing. I'm going to have to look and see what this Sony device uses, because with that type of display, I'm thinking it doesn't use Bluetooth as often as they would like for it to. Just because, Bluetooth is really good for streaming like graphics. Mm-hmm. It's really good for like the wristband, like what you just talked about in some of your wristband CES gadgets. For like, text, like tweets, and you got an email, stuff like that, notification center. So yeah, that's cool. But Google also does graphics too, but they're really small, so that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So, okay. So not the response you were looking for in the meeting, though? Or?
Oh yeah, people liked it, and one of my longtime peers, when I walked in with it on, he looked at me, he said, "I would expect nothing less from you," because he knows what a nerd I am. But the other guys they didn't know me that well at all, so it was interesting to get see their looks and all that.
I'm just real curious about whether or not consumers will be watching content with these devices, because that's going to be big. I mean, content creators are going to have to retailer all their content. I mean, we were just talking about 4K to these smaller devices, and so there is no end in sight. I mean,
yeah, that's true. I mean, like I can view a video on here just fine and watch a video, and it looks. It's not like I would want to sit there and consume an entire film,
right?
On it. And my main concern, number one, is battery life. Number two, it's a little tiny screen. But yeah, it works pretty nicely. Yeah.
Cool.
So, but I mean, yeah, you're right. Though content, I don't think people would want to use Google Glass to consume a ton of content. In other words, yeah.
I don't know if you're on the subway.
yeah. I guess that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, who knows?
But I
mean,
that's wear it on a subway. I would be like, because
kind of like what the Google CEO Sergey or whatever his name was caught on the subway with Google Glass.
Yeah, he was, wasn't he? I would just be afraid that somebody would want to like. I've never been afraid of anyone ever mugging me before, but you know, I mean, because if they see, oh, that's like a $1,600 piece of hardware just sitting on her face.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm jealous. Although I did see the implementation, or kind of what Google is touting as their prescription lens version, and I'm not at all excited about it. It looks bulky. There's a large bar that kind of sits on top of your prescription frame, and it's the one thing I absolutely hate about those clip-on sunglasses is that stupid bar that fits on top of your those generic sunglasses that are universal. And apparently Google's doing the same thing. So, and then at the end you just have this bulky thing. It's just like, why not just embed it into the prescription lenses? But anyways,
exactly. Soon.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully they'll this is just, I guess, the very beginning. I bet you we're going to look back in a few years from now and look back and like, how do we even, look at that archaic technology? I mean, just like think about like how TV sets used to look and now what they look like now. Computers.
I don't know. Do they look any different?
The TV? No, I
don't know. Do they? Yeah, I don't know. I'm still using a smartphone and it's like 20 years later. But, well, let's wrap up the episode, shall we? We've been talking forever.
I guess so, yeah. Okay, I guess we should wrap it up. Well, this is fun.
Yeah.
It was nice to, jump back into it. I know we were off for a few weeks, but now the holidays are over, and it's into 2014 we are, and so good way to start the show.
So, Jennifer, I know that you've been, that you're online, at least your persona is. Where can people find you?
People can find me online at jenniferruggiero.com. All of my links are on there, as well as a link to Tech Anarchy. So definitely check it out.
Sweet. And people may find me on Tech Anarchy, Google Plus, and that link is google.com/plus Tech Anarchy Social. We are also on Facebook, facebook.com/Tech Anarchy Podcast. And we are on Twitter. I tweet a lot. We're on twitter.com/tech_anarchy. And I just want to give a shout out to all of my Twitter followers on Tech Anarchy. You guys are some really cool people following, and I would really love to hear some of your opinions. Just maybe what you saw at CES. I know I put out a question, but I got no responses, and I know you guys are listening. So, I'm curious to hear what you think about CES and whether or not you agree with us. So,
definitely.
And always a great show. And Jennifer, look forward to the next episode.
Look forward to next week. Thank you.
All right. Till next time. Cool.